Chapter 52. I'm here to challenge the dojo. Looking at Yao Zhong in front of him, Xiaoping directly stated his purpose this time. Challenge the dojo. Hearing these careless words, Yao Zhong's heart immediately surged with anger. He was attacked and punched by this kid before and was almost seriously injured. The two sides were like fire and water. But he hadn't looked for trouble with this kid yet, but this bastard came to his door personally to find trouble with him. Even if he was arrogant, there should be a limit. He looked down on people too much. In words that your IQ can understand, it is to beat you up. Xiaoping felt that he had to explain it in a simple way, otherwise such people might not understand. Beat us up. Everyone in the Wuwei martial arts hall was mad. He came to challenge the dojo just to beat them up. How much did he look down on them? Could it be that they could only be beaten up? Too arrogant. Xiaoping, you're looking for death. If you dare to come to the Wuwei martial arts hall, you have come to the wrong place. There is no need for brother Yao Zhong to do anything. I can beat you up alone. A group of Wuwei martial arts hall members were so angry that they were like cats whose tails have been stepped on. Among them, there was a bald man with a very violent temper. He immediately couldn't suppress his inner anger. With a whoosh, he rushed out in an instant and punched, trying to knock Xiaoping down. Stupid. Xiaoping was calm and relaxed. He just watched the bald man make a move. Just at the moment when the other party approached him, he suddenly made a move as fast as lightning, exuding a grandmaster-like aura. Strike after strike. With a bang, he slapped the bald man's face with his backhand. The bald man immediately flew up on the spot and spun 5 or 6 times in the air. At the same time, the bald man let out a scream. Several teeth flew out mixed with blood. Finally, he fell to the ground. His eyes were white and his mouth was foaming. He was already unconscious. What? Many disciples were shocked. This bald man was a powerhouse at the 6th layer of the martial arts hall. He could be regarded as an elite of the martial arts hall, but he couldn't withstand a slap from this kid and was knocked out at once. Even though they knew that this kid's strength was not simple, they didn't expect him to be this strong. I told you, I'm here to beat you up. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at the people of Wuwei Martial Arts Hall faintly. Line up one by one, don't worry. The people of Wuwei Martial Arts Hall were so angry that smoke was coming out of their noses. This bastard was really getting more and more arrogant. Yao Zhong's face was gloomy as he stared at Xiaoping. So that's how it is. I haven't seen you for a few days. You have actually connected 6 meridians and promoted to the 6th heaven of martial arts. Your strength has increased greatly. No wonder you dare to come to my door to smash. His eyes were very sharp, and he immediately saw through Xiaoping's martial arts cultivation. The disciples of Wuwei Martial Arts Hall were all shocked. This kid was promoted to the 6th heavenly layer so quickly. Wasn't he only at the 5th heavenly layer before? How could he break through so quickly? It's not as exaggerated as my strength has increased. It's just to the point where I can beat you up. It's not worth mentioning. Xiaoping said lightly, his eyes extremely calm. What the F***CK? Was there anything more arrogant than this? What do you mean by just enough to beat us up? Doesn't this mean that his strength is completely above theirs? What did this bastard eat to have such a big mouth? Did he eat garlic? A group of people stared at Xiaoping angrily, clenching their fists, and the scene was a little out of control. Xiaoping, even if Yao Zhong's shrewdness was deep, in the face of this situation, he couldn't help it and said angrily, You injured my junior brother Zhoktan before and sent him to the hospital. I won't argue with you. You sneak attacked and injured me before, and your means are despicable. I won't argue with you. But do you really think that I, Yao Zhong, have no temper and is a soft persimmon that you can pinch at will? I won't argue with you, but you F***king got cocky, lying on my head and pissing on me. You even dare to come to my Wuwei Martial Arts Hall and hurt my fellow brothers. In this situation, even a clay man has 3 points of anger. If I, Yao Zhong, don't kill you today, I will eat shit. With a bang, Yao Zhong jumped out and slapped with his palm. In an instant, countless palm shadows appeared in the sky, densely packed, like a 1,000-hand guanyin, and the momentum was amazing. Every single palm contained a terrifying amount of power. With a single slap, even 1,000-kilogram boulder would be turned to dust. Moreover, countless palm images appeared. Some were real, some were fake, and some were fake. It was impossible to tell which was real and which was fake. Once you scratched your head, you would be hit by the palm force and fall to the ground with serious injuries, vomiting blood, and unable to fight again. This was Yao Zhong's secret technique, Thousand Illusion Palm. Amazing. This is senior brother Yao Zhong's Thousand Illusion Palm. It's too powerful. Senior brother Yao Zhong is invincible in the world with this secret technique. Even a powerhouse in the eighth heaven of martial arts can be matched. It's not a big deal to challenge someone. This is a high-level martial technique. The difficulty of cultivation is simply off the charts. Many people may not be able to master it even if they are 40 or 50 years old, but senior brother Yao Zhong has mastered it. He is simply a genius. With one slap, it turns into 1,000 palms, real and fake. Who can resist it? Moreover, the palm force is continuous and contains the power of extreme Yin. It is the most sinister and vicious, and its penetrating power is terrifying. Even a monster with great defense would be injured by one palm strike. That kid is miserable. This time, he angered senior brother Yao Zhong. He will definitely be seriously injured. No way. If we accidentally send this guy to the hospital, won't we have to bear criminal responsibility? Responsible, my ass. Yinhuang Star has a strong martial arts atmosphere and prosperous martial arts halls. Challenging the hall is endless. The law has long been written that anyone who dares to challenge the hall will not bear any legal responsibility unless they die. In other words, as long as we don't kill him, then we are innocent. Well, you can say that. Poor guy, today he came in standing, and he will probably go back lying down. This is the result of coming to our Wu-Wei martial arts hall to cause trouble. We must teach him this lesson. Many disciples of Wu-Wei martial arts hall talked about it and looked at Xia Ping with a sneer. Thousand Illusion Palm? It's a good martial technique, but under my spiritual power, it can't hide it all. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a glimmer of light, and his spiritual power erupted, instantly capturing Yao Zhong's big hand. Found you. You made a move in vain. Crane, fist immortal crane, searching for shrimp. With a whoosh, one of his hands turned into an immortal crane. Its speed was extremely fast, and the angle was tricky. It passed through countless palm shadows without being blinded by any palm shadows and accurately found Yao Zhong's palm. Boom. Chapter 53. What? Seeing that his 1,000 phantom palms was broken and even his right hand was caught, Yao Zhong's face changed drastically. He didn't expect that he would be defeated so easily. At the same time, he felt a violent sense of crisis. All the cells in his body tightened. He wanted to pull out his right hand that was caught by Xia Ping, but his right hand seemed to be caught by a crane containing a terrifying entanglement. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't get rid of it. It was extremely terrifying. Oh no! At this moment, Yao Zhong's face was ashen. He felt a strong sense of crisis because when his right hand was caught, the other party clenched his left fist and punched in vain. Leopard fist, leopard meteor. With a bang, the sound of a cheetah rose in the air. The air burst and slammed fiercely on Yao Zhong's abdomen. Immediately, he felt a terrifying force explode in his abdomen. Yao Zhong let out a miserable scream. His whole body was blasted out. He slid along the ground for hundreds of meters and finally stopped when he hit the wall. He stared at Xia Ping and seemed to want to struggle, but after struggling for a few seconds, a sharp pain came from his body. He fell to the ground with a snap and fainted. Senior brother Yao Zhong. A group of Wu-Wei martial arts hall disciples shouted anxiously. They all surrounded him, very worried. Some people were simply in disbelief. This was the famous Yao Zhong, a powerhouse at the 7th heavenly layer. He was invincible in this area and could be called the trump card of Wu-Wei martial arts hall. But now he was defeated by this kid with one punch and even knocked out. Was there any justice in this world? He fainted just like that. Xia Ping's face showed a trace of disappointment. He's really fragile. He fainted after just one punch. Is he acting? The eldest disciple of Wu-Wei martial arts hall only has this strength. Who the fuck is acting? Didn't you see senior brother, Yao Zhong, rolling his eyes? I know senior brother, Yao Zhong. He doesn't have such good acting skills. A disciple of Wu Wei Martial Arts Hall shouted in grief and indignation. Hearing this, the other short and fat disciple was furious. With a smack, he hit the guy hard. What the hell are you talking about? Do you know how to speak? If you don't know how to speak, then don't speak. No one will treat you as a mute. That person felt wronged. But that bastard is insulting senior brother Yao Zhong. I can't stand it. Insult my ass. Your words are the real insult. The short and fat disciple was so angry that he wanted to beat this guy up. Xiaoping looked speechless and waved his hand. Okay, stop arguing. I know the true level of your Wu Wei Martial Arts Hall. It seems that it's not that good. What? Hearing this, a group of Wu Wei Martial Arts Hall disciples were mad. All of them turned their heads and glared at Xiaoping, as if they wanted to rush up and tear this bastard to pieces. Seeing this, Xiaoping squinted. What's wrong? Are you not convinced? Submit your sister. Wu Wei Martial Arts Hall is a well-known martial arts hall. There are many strong and capable people. How can you insult it? Change your words immediately, or you won't be able to leave Wu Wei Martial Arts Hall. Everyone glared fiercely at Xiaoping, their hearts bursting with anger. Interesting. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back, looked at these people faintly, and said, Then let me see your strength. But if I take action against you, it's simply bullying the weak. It's very unfair. This is beating you up. The disciples of Wu Wei Martial Arts Hall were so angry that their noses were crooked. How much did this bastard look down on people before he was willing? He was too hateful. How about this? Xiaoping made his own suggestion. I will stand here and let you attack me. As long as you can make me take a step back, even if I lose, I will automatically leave Wu Wei Martial Arts Hall and never come back in this life. Too arrogant. Who do you think you are? Stand here and let us attack you. You are too arrogant. Even the powerhouses of the 9th heavenly layer dare not do this. As long as you take a step back, you will admit defeat. You bastard, you look down on people too much. If we really do it, I'm afraid you will go to the hospital for a year. The faces of the disciples of Wu Wei Martial Arts Hall were all distorted. They felt that they had lived for so many years, but they had never seen such an angry bastard. Since you all said so, then I will be honest. Xiaoping was very simple and direct. Actually, I look down on you. I think you have no strength. Even if you attack me, it is like a mosquito bite. If you're not convinced, try it. He put on a look of asking for a beating, stood still, and let the other party attack. Fuck, I have never wanted to beat someone so much in my life. Let's try it. Let's go together and beat this bastard to death. A disciple of Wu Wei Martial Arts Hall couldn't stand it anymore and rushed over immediately. Seeing this, many disciples also rushed over. Bang, bang, bang. These people punched and kicked Xiaoping with all their might. It was as if they were punching a sandbag. Needless to say, they were using all their strength. Even during normal training, they were not so serious. But when they attacked Xiaoping, they all felt strange. It was as if they were not attacking a human, but a mass of cotton. No matter how fierce the punch was, when it hit this kid, the powerful attack power would be digested and absorbed cleanly. This kind of depression almost made them vomit blood. What's wrong? You don't have any strength at all. Do you want to go home and let your mother feed you? Xiaoping stood comfortably in the same place with his hands behind his back. He operated Dark North Body Protection Technique and let these enemies attack him. He felt his body was limp, numb. A warm current surged around his body. It was very comfortable. A trace of true energy flowed around his body, constantly becoming stronger. He had to say that this was simply the best cultivation method. Even if he cultivated in seclusion, meditated on the spot, and absorbed the energy of heaven and earth, it would not be as fast as now. At the same time, in order to stimulate the combat effectiveness of these people, he also provoked them from time to time to stimulate their nerves. I will feed you. Everyone, use your strength. Don't hold back. Kill this bastard. This kind of person is born to be beaten. If we don't beat this guy until he is half paralyzed, our Wu Wei Martial Arts Hall will lose face. This is not only our dignity, but also the dignity of Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall. We must not retreat. The group of people in Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall shouted desperately, and their morale was greatly boosted. They all vowed that they would never let this bastard Xia Ping look down on them. At the very least, they would beat him back and kick him out. Chapter 54. But after a full hour of beating, Xia Ping was fine. On the contrary, the people who beat Xia Ping were exhausted, as if they had been drained by their girlfriends 7 or 8 times. They had no strength at all. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, the disciples fell to the ground, panting loudly, sweating profusely. They had no strength at all. Even if some of the remaining disciples with stronger endurance were still attacking Xia Ping, it could be seen that their fists were weak like babies. What's wrong? Are you done? What the hell is wrong with you? Aren't you the elites of Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall? It's only been an hour, and you're already out of strength. How the hell did you train? Xia Ping was very upset. He was enjoying it just now. His physical strength was increasing little by little. This unparalleled pleasure was simply too comfortable. It was even better than a massage. But now, these people were out of strength. Hitting him didn't have any effect at all. Instead, they flew around like flies. It was just annoying. Hearing this, the people of Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall were extremely aggrieved. But now, they really had no strength at all. They couldn't even make a few sounds. They were also extremely helpless. This kid was a monster. Hundreds of them took turns to beat him, but nothing happened to him. They couldn't even make him take a step back. After fighting for an hour, they were exhausted, but the other party was still full of energy. They were completely convinced. No wonder even senior brother Yao Zhong was not his opponent. They don't even have a reaction like this. It seems that these people really have no strength. Xia Ping touched his chin and looked at the Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall disciples lying on the ground like a pool of mud. No matter how he ridiculed them, they were indifferent. He felt that this might be the end of today. Forget it, I will let you go today. I will come again tomorrow. After saying that, he turned around and left. What? Come again tomorrow? Don't come again. We are convinced. A Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall disciple was happy to see Xia Ping leave. But when he heard this sentence, his face turned completely green. This god of plague would come again tomorrow. Wouldn't he be tortured mentally and physically by this kid again? Not only was his face green, but the faces of other Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall disciples also turned green. But no matter how reluctant they were, Xia Ping still arrived at the entrance of Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall on time the next evening and yelled for these people to beat him. If these people didn't beat him up, he would beat up these students. He was extremely arrogant. The students of Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall were also strong martial artists. How could they bear this kind of humiliation? They rushed up one by one and helped Xia Ping with his cultivation. For 3 days in a row, Xia Ping simply regarded Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall as his own home and abused the disciples of Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall every day. Use some strength. Yes, I'm talking about you. That 2-meter-tall big guy. You have so many muscles, but why are you punching like a baby? Did you come here without eating? And you are a powerhouse of the 6th heaven of martial disciple. Why is your boxing so weak? Did you do something with your girlfriend last night? You're so impudent at such a young age. I'm guessing that you'll become impotent when you're older. Do you know how to control yourself? What are you laughing at? The 3 of you are the same. You've grown up for nothing, yet you call yourselves the top students of the school. I don't see it at all. Is it because the level of your school is too low? Xia Ping stood in the same place and shouted. He constantly mentally abused these Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall disciples, making them so angry that their faces turned green and white. They almost wanted to vomit blood. If it was 3 days ago, they still had a little desire to fight back, but now they were used to being abused by that bastard. They were completely beaten and paralyzed on the ground, not wanting to move. Why aren't you moving? Get up quickly. Are you still students of Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall? Are you still the top students of the school? Do you still want to enter a first-class university? According to your attitude, it's simply a dream. Even the gatekeeper won't want you. Seeing a group of Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall people lying on the ground like mud, Xia Ping continued to bombard them mentally. But no matter how he bombarded them, these people seemed to be immune to poison. They all lay on the ground, pretending to be dead. No matter how Xiaoping called them, they were unwilling to move. Forget it. It seems that you really don't have the strength. I will come back tomorrow. Xiaoping was a little regretful. It seemed that today's training could only end here. After listening, a Wu-Wei martial arts hall disciple's face instantly turned green, and he shouted, "Big brother, we are convinced. We are completely convinced, okay? Don't come here and abuse us. Last time we came to your school to show off. It's not much. Is there a need for such a big grudge? We won't provoke you in the future. Spare us this time. If this goes on, our bodies can't bear it." A group of disciples shouted again and again. They were still very unconvinced of Xiaoping before, but now they were beaten hard. If they were not convinced, they would come again tomorrow. Who was not afraid? Even their senior brother, Yao Zhong, was scared by this guy. He was seriously injured for 2 days in a row. Now he was lying on the ground pretending to be sick. It seemed that he wanted to hide from the limelight. "No, I have to say that your quality is very good. You are very good sparring partners," Xiaoping said. "If I don't trouble you, I will feel uncomfortable." "Comfortable, your sister." The group of disciples were half dead with anger. "You are comfortable, but they are miserable. They have nightmares every day, fearing that this guy will come to their house and beat them at night." "Big brother, don't you just want to find a sparring partner? There are many martial arts halls in Tianshui City, and there are many more powerful than Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall. Why don't you find trouble with them?" "Yes, we are actually very weak. Don't bully us. Anyway, if you come again, I will lie on the ground and not move." The disciples of Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall yelled. Some disciples still wanted to act shamelessly and just lay straight on the ground. Other martial arts halls? Xiaoping had to seriously consider the feasibility of this matter. After 3 days of abuse, the enthusiasm of these disciples had indeed decreased a lot, and they could no longer do any harm to him. If this continues, his cultivation plan will probably have to be interrupted. And after 3 days of abusing them, he was really a little tired. Well, that's it for today. I will go to other martial arts halls tomorrow. Xiaoping decided and turned to leave. Damn, this god of plague finally left and went to harm other martial arts halls. Celebrate. We must celebrate. Great. These 3 days have been cloudy. I almost wanted to leave Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall. Now the rain is finally over. Chapter 55. On the evening of the second day, an uninvited guest came to the originally peaceful Tiger Dojo. This person kicked open the door of the Tiger Dojo and shouted arrogantly, "I'm here to challenge the dojo. Come out if you're alive." He stood directly in the middle of the door with an arrogant look. This person was obviously Xiaoping. Go to hell. Who has such guts to challenge the Tiger Martial Arts Hall? Send a few people to kill him and teach that kid a lesson. Don't be too heavy-handed, just cripple him. The students of the ferocious Tiger Dojo were infuriated. They all rushed out and started beating that guy up. They wanted to beat this reckless guy half to death. But after half an hour of beating, they found that the guy was still standing in the same place, as stable as Mount Tai. He even showed a very comfortable look. Is that all you have? I looked at the online rankings. You seem to be a little higher than Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall, but now it seems that you are much weaker than Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall. Xiaoping showed a look of regret. He knew that Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall and Tiger Martial Arts Hall had similar rankings. They were sometimes high and sometimes low, and they were often compared. Therefore, people from the two martial arts halls often clashed, and both were very unconvinced of each other. Although they were not life and death enemies, they were also the kind of people who would fight each other if they didn't agree with each other. Now that they were provoked by Xiaoping like this, all of them were furious. Bastard, you actually compare Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall to us. Who do you think you are? Don't be too arrogant, kid. I will let you see the power of our Tiger Martial Arts Hall later. It's not something that trash Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall can compare with. The people of Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall only know some martial arts. How can they compare with our Tiger Martial Arts Hall? Our strength is heavy, and our fists are like fierce tigers. One punch can cripple the enemy. Do you know that? Is this bastard sent by Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall? If so, then you are courting death. Everyone, let's beat this guy half to death. I will pay for all the medical expenses. Sure enough, the students of the Tiger Martial Arts Hall were completely enraged by Xiaoping's words. They could lose anything, but they couldn't lose to Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall. Bang, bang, bang. A group of people rushed up, punching and kicking Xiaoping, displaying the ferocious tiger fist technique. Every punch had the power of 1,000 jin, and even a boulder would be smashed to pieces. Not bad, not bad. Sure enough, newcomers are better. Newcomers are more aggressive. Some old foxes can't do it. They cut corners when they punch. Sure enough, they are more powerful. Xiaoping was very satisfied. He activated the Northern Dark Body Protection Kung Fu, and when these fists landed on his body, they immediately turned into strength, continuously tempering his body, and the energy in his body was also quickly refined. These punches hit on his body and immediately turned into energy in Dark North Club. An hour later, the lively and energetic students of the Ferocious Tiger Dojo were all lying on the ground in exhaustion. They no longer had the slightest bit of strength left. Their bodies were drenched in sweat, and their faces were deathly pale. They were even more miserable than being squeezed dry by the demoness. Bastard, is this kid a monster? No matter how you hit him, it's terrible. I don't have any strength. I'm not so tired after a few hours of training. The people of the Tiger Martial Arts Hall wailed. They were extremely aggrieved. Even if they wanted to go up and beat this bastard, there was no way now. It seems that the people of this martial arts hall can't do it. Let's continue to challenge the next martial arts hall. Xiaoping was very excited. He finally found a shortcut to cultivation. Although he abused the students of 2 martial arts halls, this world was prosperous. There were many martial arts halls in Tianshui City. There were no worries about having no other martial arts halls to challenge. So in the next week, Xiaoping continued to challenge martial arts halls, dominating Heaven Martial Arts Hall, Hurricane Martial Arts Hall, Black Cat Martial Arts Hall, Rhino Martial Arts Hall, Flying Pig Martial Arts Hall, and so on. He challenged 7 or 8 martial arts halls in a row. It can be said that almost all the famous martial arts halls near Tianshui City 95th High School have been challenged by him. Every martial arts hall disciple was beaten by him and then left refreshed. That kind of demonic figure made every martial arts hall disciple afraid. And this incident quickly spread so that the surrounding students knew about it, and they discussed it crazily in the school's tieba, forums, and other places. Have you heard? There is a fierce man in Tianshui City 95th High School. He challenged 7 or 8 martial art halls in a row and beat all the students inside. The scene was very tragic. Of course, I heard it. I was on the scene at the time. That person was extremely hateful. Relying on his powerful strength, he didn't put the people in the martial arts hall in his eyes. He was so arrogant that he didn't make a move and let the people in the martial arts hall attack him. But it was all useless. Everyone's attacks had no effect on him. Instead, they beat him for a long time, and he was exhausted. It is said that some people who wanted to cut corners and didn't attack with all their strength were caught by the devil and beaten up. Their whole body was fractured, and they couldn't recover for 3 months. I was terrified when I saw that scene, and I ran away at that time. What the hell? Isn't he too arrogant? He is so arrogant to such an extent that he actually stood still and let the enemy attack him. What was his background? I investigated it myself before and finally found out that the guy's name is Xiaoping. He seems to be a student of Tianshui City 95th High School. He seemed to have won 2nd place in the school fighting competition before, and he has a beautiful girlfriend who seems to be the school belle. What a beast, he is strong, and he has a school belle as his girlfriend. He is a natural winner in life. Why isn't this kind of person struck by lightning? According to the grapevine, he is very despicable, shameless, heartless, and extremely playful. He has more than a dozen girlfriends, 8 of whom are pregnant for 3 months. Sure enough, this kind of life winner is generally a beast. He can even do this kind of thing. Hurry up and call the police to arrest him. Check his background and guarantee that he will go to labor camp for 3 years. Someone has already checked it, but it's very clean and there is no illegal crime. He used to be low-key and a good citizen. It is estimated that his family has a very good background. Those bad things have been settled. Damn it, no one is going to clean up this bully. It is said that everyone in the martial arts club is in danger for fear that this devil will go to the club and abuse them. Everyone can rest assured that someone will clean him up soon. I heard that he plans to go to the Chu Clan Martial Arts Club tomorrow. That is the largest martial arts club in our place. There are many strong people. He will definitely be cleaned up badly. I will go and see it tomorrow and take pictures of that bastard for everyone to see. This kind of beast should be made famous and let everyone criticize him. Chapter 56. At this time, Chu Clan Martial Arts Dojo. Disciples wearing white training clothes were gathering in this place. Everyone was silent and didn't look at each other. The atmosphere was solemn, as if they were facing a great enemy. Sister Chu Rong is here. Suddenly, a disciple shouted, "Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh." All the disciples present looked over and saw a tall and hot girl coming in at the door. She was 168 meters tall and wore a white training suit, which was very loose. But this still couldn't hide her extremely hot figure, exquisite and curvy, proud of the heroes, beautiful appearance, slender waist, absolutely a peerless beauty. When she came in, all the male disciples couldn't help but widen their eyes, showing love, as if all the brilliance in the world was taken away by her. The girl didn't care at all, as if she had long been accustomed to this kind of gaze. Step by step, she came directly to the front position, sat down cross-legged, and looked at the disciples of Chu Clan Martial Arts Dojo in front of her with majesty in her eyes. The surrounding disciples all lowered their heads and didn't dare to look directly at her because this girl was not only beautiful but also powerful. She was the daughter of the owner of Chu Clan Martial Arts Dojo and the #1 master here, a powerhouse of the 7th heaven of martial arts. In other words, none of them here were a match for her. She could sweep away all her enemies. I heard that someone wants to challenge my Chu Clan Martial Arts Dojo. Chu Rong said, "Yes, that kid is a student of Tianshui City 95th Middle School called Xiaoping. That bastard came in a menacing manner and challenged 7 or 8 martial arts dojos in a row. Those martial arts dojo students were beaten very badly. Although he is only at the 6th heaven of martial arts, I don't know what kind of martial arts secret method he has learned, but he has practiced a body of martial arts. No matter how many enemies attack him, he is fine. Even that kid is very arrogant and domineering. When he challenges the dojo, he doesn't take the initiative to attack the enemy and let the enemy come to attack, completely humiliating those martial arts dojo students. It is said that after being challenged by that kid, many martial arts dojo students collapsed and were so shocked that they couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. They almost want to give up martial arts. It can be said that he is simply a devil who takes pleasure in humiliating others. It is estimated that he will come to our Chu Clan Martial Arts Dojo tomorrow and want to humiliate us here." Many students spoke up one after another. Their faces were filled with unwillingness, but according to Lin Fan's previous battle results, it was simply too terrifying. They didn't have much confidence in defeating him, but it was also impossible to escape. They were a martial arts dojo, and every single one of them was a martial arts powerhouse. If they chose to avoid a fight when encountering an opponent, wouldn't that make them cowards? Could they still live in Tianshui City in the future? If they really did such a thing, they would be laughed at when they went out. Tianshui City, 95th High School, their people actually dare to come to my Wuwei Martial Arts Hall to find trouble. They want to die. Chu Rong couldn't help clenching her fists, and her beautiful eyes showed a trace of anger. The surrounding disciples also knew why Chu Rong was so angry, because most of them were students of Tianshui City's 88th High School, and they were born to be enemies of the 95th High School. Because of the long-standing grudges, the students of the two schools were in a competitive relationship. They didn't like each other. Usually, when they met each other's school on the road, they would spit at each other. But now that bastard 95 Middle School was bullying them. How could they not be angry? Senior Sister Chu, I heard that Xia Ping seems to be the boyfriend of Jiang Yar from 95th High School. A student immediately said the gossip that was spreading around the internet. What? That kid is Jiang Yar's boyfriend? How is that possible? Hearing this news, Chu Rong was shocked because she and Jiang Yaru were also enemies. They often met in various school competitions in Tianshui City. The competition between the two was very fierce, and no one was willing to give in to the other. She felt that it was very inconceivable that Jiang Yaru suddenly had a boyfriend and was also pregnant. For a time, her mind was a little blank. Yes, I also heard that that kid is a scumbag. He has stepped on more than a dozen boats outside the school, impregnated many girls, and forced them to go to the hospital for abortions. Even Jiang Yaru fell into his trap. That bastard not only takes pleasure in humiliating his enemies, but he also likes to play with women. He started picking up girls at the age of 8, went to prostitutes at the age of 12, and started taking different women to hotels at the age of 15. You can imagine that this guy is simply a villain. No one is worse than him. A group of students added fuel to the fire and spread rumors. Damn it! Hearing this, Chu Rong was incomparably angry. She lamented, Jiang Yaru, I originally thought you were a good opponent. I've always been working hard to completely defeat you. But I never thought that you would abandon yourself and actually throw yourself into the arms of scumbag. Are you still considered to be my, Chu Rong's, opponent? Are you still a martial arts expert? You really disappoint me. She clenched her fists and gritted her teeth. Although she wanted to defeat Jiang Yaru, she didn't want to do it in this way. Her opponent had abandoned himself, and she had won without a fight. What kind of victory was this? This kind of victory, she would never admit it. Jiang Yaru, Chu Rong clenched her teeth, and her beautiful eyes revealed a raging flame. Since you've been deceived by a scumbag and can no longer see clearly, then let me thoroughly beat you awake. That man will be defeated by me. I'll let you see the true face of that kind of man. That kind of man is not worth throwing yourself into the arms of a woman like you. A student said hesitantly, but senior sister Chu, that Xia Ping is a bit of a scumbag, but his strength is real. His endurance training is extremely amazing. It is said that even the eldest senior brother of the Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall, Yao Zhong, couldn't break his defense, and then he was beaten to a pulp. Now he is hiding in a hospital and doesn't dare to come out. Endurance training? It's nothing. Chu Rong coldly snorted. My Chu Clan Martial Arts Hall's Heaven and Earth Mountain Splitting Kick specializes in endurance training. Its penetrative power is terrifying. There was once a guy who practiced Iron Shirt who wanted to challenge me. I kicked him away with 3 kicks, and he flew more than 10 meters away. 5 or 6 of his ribs were broken. How could he be stronger than those who practiced thwart kung fu for more than 10 or 20 years? She was extremely confident in herself. No one was her opponent. Even the genius Jiang Yaru could only match her, but it was impossible for him to defeat her. That's right. How powerful is the Heaven and Earth Mountain Splitting Kick? Even a monster with extremely strong defense will have its internal organs crushed in one kick. That kid is naturally not his opponent. My Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall's famous martial arts isn't something that bastard can compare to. If he dares to come over, we'll give him a good look. Chapter 57. The next evening, in the Chu Clan Martial Arts Club. At this time, the martial arts club was surrounded by a dense crowd. They seemed to be students who heard the noise. They surrounded the martial arts club and seemed to want to watch the fun. What's going on? Although Xia Ping came to challenge the club, there shouldn't be so many people watching. Is Xia Ping really so famous? A person asked curiously. His companion looked at the man contemptuously and said, You don't know the power of the Chu Clan Martial Arts Club? Most of the audience is not here for Xia Ping, but for the Chu Clan Martial Arts Club. Do you know that? No way. The Chu Clan Martial Arts Club is so powerful and popular. The man couldn't believe it. His companion said, Rather than saying that the Chu Clan Martial Arts Club is powerful, it's better to say that the big sister Chu Rong is very popular. She is a famous female anchor on the internet. She is beautiful, hot, and powerful. She has already become a celebrity on the internet and has many fans. Once she starts a live broadcast and commentates on various martial arts competitions, millions of viewers will immediately come to watch, and countless rewards will be given. You can imagine how popular she is. It can be said that Chu Rong is a living sign of the Chu Clan Martial Arts Club. Many disciples joined the Chu Clan Martial Arts Club because of her. His eyes also showed love. Obviously, he was also one of the fans. I see. The people who come here are all fans. No wonder they are so fanatical. The man suddenly realized and looked around. Indeed, they were different from ordinary audiences. The companion sneered and said, "In short, if Xiaoping doesn't come here, he will definitely provoke public anger. I am afraid he won't be able to leave the Chu Clan Martial Arts Club. Even if I win, I'll be beaten up in a sack in an alley." He showed a fierce look. "Look, that bastard Xiaoping really came." Someone exclaimed. Whoosh, whoosh. Everyone looked over and saw a bus stop on the platform. Then, a figure slowly walked out of it. It was the legendary Xiaoping. They had all seen Xiaoping's photos on the internet. Even if he turned into ashes, they would still recognize him. "Well, why are there so many people? Are they all here to welcome me?" Xiaoping was also a little surprised. He came to the Chu Clan Martial Arts Club to challenge them, but he didn't expect so many people to welcome him. "Welcome your sister." A 2-meter-tall, brawny man stood out with a ferocious look on his face. He clenched his fist, which was as big as a casserole, and made cracking sounds. He stared at Xiaoping fiercely and said, "I advise you to go back immediately. You are not allowed to challenge the Chu Clan Martial Arts School. Otherwise, I won't be polite to you. Breaking 3 ribs is a piece of cake." That's right, the Chu Clan Martial Arts Hall is not something you can provoke. If you dare harm a single hair on Miss Chu, I'll take your life. Immediately, there were also 2 or 3 men who came out. They were 9 meters tall, like an iron tower, and suddenly blocked in front of Xiaoping. They were all powerhouses of the 6th heaven of martial arts, and their momentum was amazing. Everyone sneered. Let alone entering the Wu-Wei Martial Arts Hall today, this kid would probably be beaten down by the angry crowd at the door. He wouldn't be able to go in even an inch. Scram! Xiaoping only said one word and suddenly punched out. He was like a ferocious tiger hunting. His hands moved like lightning. In an instant, he punched out 3 times in the air. Each punch exploded with thousands of pounds of force, causing the air to vibrate. Bang, bang, bang. The 3 strong men in front were caught off guard and couldn't react at all. One of them was punched in the abdomen, and the whole person flew out and slid along the ground for 40 or 50 meters. With a puff, they even spat out their bile. Their eyes turned white, and they directly fainted. "You're courting death." The 2-meter-tall brawny man was furious. His whole person was like a black bear. He rushed over at once, and his hill-like physique was full of oppressive feeling, as if he could tear up all prey. Leopard fist thunder, leopard hammer. Xiaoping punched out, and the strong wind blew everywhere. There was a thunderous explosion in the air. It hit the body of the brawny man like a heavy hammer, and the hill-like physique immediately flew out. Dong! His whole person flew out and slammed into the wall of the martial arts hall. With a crack, 5 or 6 cracks appeared, and a large amount of gravel rolled down from above. When everyone saw this, they were suddenly horrified. The brawny man had been knocked out and could no longer move. One must know that this brawny man was a master of the 7th heaven of martial arts. His combat power was extremely powerful, and he could tear tigers and cheetahs with his hands. But he was not the opponent of this man and was easily defeated. "Who dares to stop me?" Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back, and his cold eyes swept around, full of extreme oppression. The people around him all bowed their heads, feeling the huge pressure. They didn't dare to look at him at all, and their bodies were trembling. They saw that the 4 masters were blown away by this kid with one punch. Their lungs were severely injured, their bones were broken, and they had no power to fight back. They were even more fragile than chickens. Who dared to stop him? Although Xiaoping only came here to cultivate, it did not mean that he had no temper. If he didn't teach these people a lesson, they wouldn't know what it meant to be strong. Suddenly, the people present were silent, and they didn't dare to say anything at all. Although Xiaoping was only one person, he was like an ancient beast, suppressing so many people so that they didn't even dare to breathe. Enough! At this moment, an angry shout came from the entrance of the martial arts hall. Then, a group of disciples wearing white training clothes walked out, and the one in the lead was a woman. It was Chu Rong. The eyes of the surrounding audience all brightened. Worthy of the beauty that was widely spread on the internet, she was indeed stunning. That kind of valiant and heroic style was enough to make any man's heart beat faster. You didn't come here to challenge the martial arts hall, but to cause trouble? Chu Rong glared at Xiaoping. Seeing this kind of domineering behavior, her impression of this bastard was getting worse and worse. He was nothing more than a shameless bastard who went around stirring up trouble just because he had a bit of strength. He didn't have a single good point on him. Why would Jiang Yaru fall for such a man? Could it be that she was blind? I'm not causing trouble. I'm just casually swatting a few flies and trampling a few ants to death. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. Those who cause trouble are the ones who cause trouble. They don't have that kind of qualification. What? The surrounding people were in an uproar. Just how arrogant was this bastard? Although they had long heard that he was arrogant, they didn't think he would be this arrogant. Even the 6th and 7th heavenly layers of martial disciple were treated as flies and ants by him. Then who could be his opponent? Could it be a martial disciple? Chapter 58. This bastard. Even though Chu Rong felt that she had a good temper, she was also mad by this kid's arrogance. He was clearly just a martial artist at the 6th layer, yet he dared to be so arrogant. If he was promoted to the 7th layer, 8th layer, or 9th layer, wouldn't his tail rise to the sky? She had also seen many strong martial artists and even martial artists, but she had never seen such an arrogant person, as if no one in the world was his opponent. Your Chu clan martial arts school only has these people. Xiaoping looked at Chu Rong and the others and suddenly felt very disappointed. I thought that the Chu clan martial arts school ranked first in this area might have some ability, but it seems that I'm still disappointed. If you want to stop me, I guess your master will have to take action personally. He looked up to the sky and sighed, showing a lonely master appearance. Arrogant. Our master is a martial artist. How can he deal with you? Don't be too arrogant, you shameless bastard. We can beat you and make you run away. All the people in the Chu clan martial arts school were so angry that their faces turned green and their bodies were trembling. Generally speaking, this kind of challenge was always the disciple against the disciple and the master against the master. They would never cross the line, and the master would not bully the weak. Therefore, even if Xiaoping came to challenge 7 or 8 martial arts schools and defeated countless disciples, the master of the martial arts school did not take action personally and only let his disciple take action. But this bastard was arrogant. He didn't even put the disciples of the Chu clan martial arts school in his eyes. He even wanted to challenge their master. This was the greatest insult to them. Who could bear it? The onlookers were also in an uproar. They felt that this Xiaoping was too hateful. A martial artist wanted to challenge a martial artist. Wasn't this courting death? Although this challenge would definitely fail, it indirectly despised the disciples of the Chu clan martial arts school. It showed that there was no disciple in the Chu clan martial arts school who could come out, and only the master could defeat him. What a big tone. Chu Rong's face was gloomy to the extreme. Her beautiful eyes contained anger as she stared at Xiaoping. Since you are so powerful and think that you are invincible in the world, do you dare to bet with me? Bet? What do you want to bet? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. Chu Rong snorted and said the bet. You and I fight. As long as I win, then you must break up with Jiang Yaru and never approach her in this life. Seeing this bastard performance just now, she felt that she must not let Jiang Yaru continue to stay with this bastard. Otherwise, Jiang Yaru's life would be ruined by this shameless bastard. What? Xiaoping had a strange expression on his face. Why did he feel like there was something wrong with this woman's head? What did the matter between him and Jiang Yaru have to do with this little girl? Was she a lesbian? He couldn't figure it out, even after thinking for a long time. However, he didn't care because he had no reason to lose. After these 7 days of continuous challenges in a martial arts hall, his Dark North body protection technique has been cultivated to an extremely powerful level. His body is as hard as steel. Even the powerhouse of the 8th heaven of martial arts can't hurt him. And because of his cultivation, he martial art. A lot. He couldn't he had. And he and he's. He and was. How could he be afraid of a girl at the 7th heaven of martial disciple? Interesting. All right, I promise you. Xiaoping looked at Chu Rong. But what if you lose? Chu Rong was stunned. Lose? Of course, there are winners and losers. Don't tell me you only think about the benefits of winning and never think about the disadvantages of losing? If that's the case, then it's not a bet, Xiaoping said lightly. Chu Rong was stunned. She really didn't think about the possibility of losing, but she gritted her teeth and said in a deep voice, "Well, if I lose, I can be your girlfriend." Senior Chu. A group of people cried out anxiously, wanting to stop him. How could they become this shameless person's girlfriend? Wasn't this the same as sending a lamb into a tiger's den? Don't worry, because I, Chu Rong, have no chance of losing. Chu Rong waved her hand, appearing extremely confident. Everyone was anxious, but there was nothing they could do. No, Xiaoping refused. You can't be my girlfriend. What? A group of people stared at Xiaoping angrily. This bastard, don't push your luck. Having such a beautiful woman as your girlfriend is already a blessing that you can't get in this life. You must burn incense for 8 lifetimes, and now you actually despise her. You don't like me? Chu Rong gritted her teeth. She felt the blue veins on her forehead protruding. She couldn't suppress the urge to beat this man up. She had lived for 18 years, and it had always been her choice of men. How could there be a man who despised her? I have too many girlfriends. You can't even be ranked, Xiaoping said carelessly. If you want to be, you can only be my 8th lover. That's barely enough. Damn it, this beast. It's already too much to have a girlfriend, but he actually has a lover. Even a beautiful woman like Chu Rong can only be ranked 8th. Why doesn't God strike him to death? A person said with grief and indignation. Shameless person. I have never seen such a shameless person. The moral degeneration of the world is getting worse day by day. This is modern society, and there's actually someone who has a harem. He has a bunch of girlfriends and many lovers. Does he want a harem of 3,000 beauties? Isn't he afraid of kidney deficiency? Dream on. This bastard will be chopped to death by a woman sooner or later. Just wait for his retribution. Damn it, what's so good about this person? Why do so many women like him? Does God still have eyes? Bastard, I'm still a virgin, and he already has a group of wives and concubines. Why is society so unfair? Everyone was indignant, and their hatred towards Xiaoping's soared. If eyes could kill, Xiaoping's body would probably be riddled with holes by now. Showing off in front of a group of people who knew how long he had been single, and even said he had many girlfriends. This was suicide. 8th lover. Hearing this, Chu Rong almost fainted from anger. God knows how many women this beast had by his side. She never thought that Jiang Yaru was only one of the victims. This was just a drop in the ocean. This bastard was simply the scum of society. If she didn't get rid of this scum, who knew how many sisters would suffer from him in the future? Yes, 8th lover. If you don't agree, then this bet is over. Xiaoping waved his hand, not minding in the slightest. I agree. Chu Rong gnashed her teeth, and her beautiful eyes revealed an ominous glint. Today, if she didn't beat this scum into a pulp and destroy his balls, then she, Chu Rong, wouldn't be a human. Senior Sister Chu. Chapter 59. DDDD. As Chu Rong agreed to the bet, Xiaoping immediately heard a burst of sounds from the system. Hatred value +1. Hatred value +1. Such sound continued. After such a provocation just now, it was unknown how many people wanted to beat him up. Of course, the hatred value soared. Sure enough, picking up girls is the best way to increase hatred. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. There's nothing more infuriating than me seducing your goddess, even though you hate me. He looked around and found that everyone around him really wanted to eat him alive. They wished he could walk out of the road and be hit by an oncoming car. However, no matter how angry the people around them were, Xiaoping and Chu Rong quickly signed the contract. Come on, come into the Chu Clan Martial Arts School. Chu Rong turned and walked towards the Chu Clan Martial Arts School. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A group of people quickly came to an open space in the Chu Clan Martial Arts School. This was a martial arts field. They immediately separated, leaving an open space in the middle, which was the place where the fight would take place. Xiaoping and Chu Rong stood in the middle, 10 meters apart, facing each other. The people around them held their breath, wanting to see who would win and who would lose. Of course, everyone here wanted Xiaoping to lose. It was best if he was beaten black and blue. The game begins. The referee was a disciple of the Chu clan martial arts school. He stepped forward and announced the start of the game. Boom! As soon as the voice fell, Chu Rong moved. She didn't know how long she had been suppressing her anger. Now she finally had the opportunity to break out. Her first move was earth-shattering. Chu clan martial arts school's unique skill, heaven and earth splitting mountain kick. The first move, heaven and earth reversal. Amazing. Everyone was amazed. Chu Rong was indeed a legendary genius. Her strength was even more tyrannical than Yao Zhong's. With a kick, the air exploded and a terrible wind condensed. They could hardly see Chu Rong's movements. They only felt a figure flash past and rotate 9 times in the air, exerting a terrible force. It was as if a meteor had hit the ground and turned the world upside down. With a whoosh, she fell from the sky and kicked toward his chest with a sense of shattering mountains and rivers. It is said that this leg technique, the heaven and earth mountain splitting kick, has the power to shatter the earth and crush mountains and rivers when used by a martial arts master. Someone exclaimed, "There was once a grandmaster who dealt with countless monsters. With one kick, tens of thousands of powerful monsters were instantly killed. The entire ground cracked for more than 10 kilometers." There is indeed such a rumor. Although Sister Chu is only at the 7th heavenly layer, she has also cultivated the essence of this martial technique. Even in the face of an ordinary 8th heavenly layer, the other party may not be an opponent. Furthermore, this kick technique specializes in breaking through external martial arts. Its penetrative power is extremely strong, and no defensive martial arts can withstand it. This brat is still acting tough here without moving. He's dead meat this time. Everyone discussed animatedly. They saw that this bastard Xia Ping still did not move. He stood in place with his hands behind his back, calm and composed, as if he did not intend to make any dodging movements. Bang! Chu Rong's foot kicked fiercely on Xia Ping's chest, and the shockwave produced visible ripples in the air, sweeping around and spreading. The surrounding 2 or 3 disciples were caught off guard and were immediately shocked by the aftermath. They screamed and smashed 5 or 6 meters away on the ground. Everyone was horrified and unbelievable. That's all. Xia Ping still didn't move. He looked at Chu Rong faintly. He also secretly sighed in his heart. This woman's strength is really not bragging. The power of this kick alone is more than twice as strong as Yao Zhong. Even if he had challenged a lot of martial arts masters before, none of them could compare to this woman. She is worthy of being a genius girl who can be as famous as Jiang Yaru. If he hadn't gone through 7 days of cultivation and cultivated the Dark North body protection art to the point of being like steel, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to withstand this kick and would definitely be kicked away. Unfortunately, now is Xia Ping 7 days later, not Xia Ping 7 days ago? Damn it. Chu Rong couldn't believe her eyes at all. She had such a powerful kick, but she couldn't even make this man move half a step. Is this a ghost? The second style of Qingquan mountain splitting kick, furious shattering 5 mountains. With a whoosh, she operated the true qi in her body and kicked again. The momentum of her body suddenly rose, like an ancient god, to kick the 5 mountains into pieces. The surrounding audience was shocked. The power of this kick was twice as terrifying as the previous one. It was incomparably fierce. Just the strength of the kick had already made people unable to stand steadily. Many of the people in front retreated one after another to avoid being injured. The few unlucky fellows just now were a good example. Boom! This kick kicked Xia Ping's body fiercely, making a cannonball roar. The terrifying strength of the extreme seemed to want to penetrate Xia Ping's defense and shock his lungs. What a powerful leg technique. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a glimmer of light. He operated the Dark North body protection art. The protective aura surged like water, weakening the strength of this leg technique layer by layer. If it is the iron cloth shirt, Vajra body protection art, and other horizontal skills, it will definitely not be able to resist such a terrible kick. It will be penetrated by the strength in an instant and hurt the lungs. However, the Dark North body protection art is the top cultivation method. It is mysterious and incomparable. It is not comparable to those garbage body protection techniques at all. It can remove the strength of everything in the world and even turn it into its own use. How is it possible? Chu Rong's beautiful eyes widened, and she didn't believe it at all. Her kick condensed her lifelong skills. The peak kick, even the strong of the eighth heaven of the martial artist can kick it and defeat it. But now this kid is standing here motionless and can resist her peak kick. Even so far, she hasn't let this bastard move a step. I don't believe you are really so powerful. Take my last kick, which is also the strongest blow. Although I haven't completely mastered it, it's enough to deal with you. Chu Rong took a deep breath, and with a bang, she didn't move, but the ground under her feet was shaken out of a deep pit, and countless cracks spread out, and the momentum was like an abyss. The third style of Qianquan Mountain splitting kick. 9 provinces split. In the blink of an eye, 9 shadows of legs appeared in the air. However, these 9 shadows of legs merged together and became one. Entanglement, softness, stickiness, rigidity, silk, and so on. 9 different kinds of strength blended together and exploded with a terrifying power. Such a blow was enough to shatter the earth and split the 9 provinces. Legend has it that in ancient times, there was a peerless powerhouse who used this kick and stepped the entire continent apart, divided the 9 provinces, and made countless martial arts powerhouses worship. Sister Chu is too strong. Chapter 60. Dong. Xiaoping still did not resist, allowing Chu Rong to attack him, and kicked him hard in the chest with one foot. The energy shot everywhere, rolled up the violent airflow, and the dust billowed, diffusing all around. The surrounding audience all stepped back several steps to avoid being affected. Because of the rolling yellow sand, they couldn't see the situation of the battle between the two for the time being. That kid is dead, and he's still showing off at this time. A student of the Chu Clan Martial Arts Hall affirmed, "This kick is enough to shatter rocks, even mountains. It can be compared to the attack of an ordinary martial artist in the 9th heaven. A mere martial artist in the 6th heaven can't resist it at all." Indeed, another person also nodded. If that kid avoids, there may be a chance to win, but he is too arrogant to the extreme, and he took such a terrifying kick. It's lucky that I'm still alive. That kid will be sent directly to the hospital, and it's very likely that he will lie down for a year. Others also agreed. According to their eyesight, they also thought that Xiaoping had no hope of winning, because Chu Rong's kick was too terrifying, reaching the peak. But in the center of the battle, Chu Rong's face changed dramatically. She was full of confidence, thinking that this kick could definitely defeat Xiaoping, and it went well at first. The cotton-like defense before seemed to be constantly destroyed by her terrifying strength, as if to penetrate his body and attack his internal organs. But at this moment, the momentum of this bastard suddenly doubled, as if it was more terrifying than before, and the whole person was like an ancient beast. And the power of her own foot, it seemed to fall into the endless sea, surrounded by the sea, and the strength was constantly weakened, and in the end there was no attack power. Thank you. If it weren't for your kick, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to be promoted to the 7th heaven of martial artists so quickly. Xiaoping smiled softly, his heart full of joy. Originally, after a week of cultivation, he was at the peak of the 6th heaven of martial artists, only one step away from being able to connect the 7 meridians and be promoted to the 7th heaven of martial artists. After such a terrifying kick, his Dark North body protection art ran wildly, quickly refining the energy of the golden potion in his body and transforming a lot of true qi. In this way, he broke through the 7th meridian at once, and his strength increased greatly. Impossible. Chu Rong was dumbfounded. Breaking through at the last moment? Are you a freak? You can even do something like breaking through at the last minute? She had previously thought that breaking through at the last minute was just a legend. After all, every step of cultivation was arduous, and it depended on the accumulation of time and effort. Every breakthrough was incomparably difficult, and one needed to prepare for a long time. How can anyone break through during a battle? This was too ridiculous. But now she actually saw a guy break through in front of her, and it was in her own battle, and suddenly broke through to the seventh heaven of martial disciple. Nothing is impossible. For you to be so surprised, it can only mean that you still don't understand the true martial way. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back, looking like a martial Dao grandmaster. The world of martial Dao is limitless. There is no such thing as the impossible. The thought of the impossible limits your future. Bullshit. Chu Rong was infuriated. Even if this bastard had broken through, he was only a martial disciple. How dare he show off here and talk about martial arts? Even a martial disciple would not dare to say such big words and say that he knew martial arts. Even if you are promoted to the seventh heaven of martial disciple, Chu Rong, will definitely defeat you. With a Hong sound, she circulated the true energy in her body, exhausting all of her strength. Another kick, reversing the universe, powerful and vigorous, descended from the sky, viciously kicking towards Xiaoping's chest. I said, "You're no longer my opponent now." Xiaoping slowly stretched out his right palm and gently slapped it. Boom! The two tyrannical forces collided, and an explosion broke out in the air. The shock of the chi even made the ears of the surrounding audience roar, and they couldn't help but cover their ears. Damn it! Chu Rong was shocked. She felt that the strength of her foot was far inferior to the opponent's, and even the opponent's palm came with a terrible shock force. A shock of chi spread along her feet and spread to her whole body. Boom! In an instant, the white training clothes on her body, and even her underwear, were shattered into pieces of cloth that fell to the ground, revealing her hot and perfect figure. Xiaoping grabbed her right foot, and his eyes lit up. Not bad. This kind of figure is qualified to be my 8th lover. I am very satisfied. He didn't expect that there would be such benefits in fighting. Satisfy my ass. Chu Rong was ashamed and angry. She never thought that such a situation would happen. Her perfect figure would be presented in front of a strange man. Is there anything more shameful than this? Fortunately, the surrounding yellow sand was rolling, and the audience nearby couldn't see the situation inside. Otherwise, she would be so ashamed that she wanted to immediately drill into the hole and never come out again. Go to hell. She was not willing to show weakness. With her right foot as the axis, her body rotated, and her left foot kicked again with a sharp wind, whistling sound. However, Xiaoping was already prepared. He stretched out his left hand and easily blocked it. Then he grabbed Chu Rong's whole body in his arms. This was a standard princess hug. Ah! Chu Rong exclaimed. Her pretty face flushed. Her beautiful eyes showed the flames of shame and anger, and she struggled as if she wanted to escape from the arms of this shameless man. She didn't have any clothes on her body now, and she was being held by a man like this. Don't be noisy. Xiaoping stared at Chu Rong and said, "Do you want this situation to be seen by others?" Hearing this, Chu Rong immediately stopped struggling. Her face was extremely ugly. If her appearance was seen by others, she would have no face to see anyone tomorrow. She would definitely become a laughingstock at school. Good girl. Seeing that Chu Rong no longer struggled, Xiaoping smiled lightly. Now, let's go into the dojo and find a room. Let's chat slowly, my 8th lover. Bullshit. Who's your lover? Chu Rong was mad, but in her current situation, it was not good for her to continue to resist. She could only stare fiercely at this shameless bastard. Whiz. He jumped lightly with his feet, producing a strong jumping force. His whole body was like a white crane, extremely light. In an instant, he jumped more than 10 meters away, leaving the encirclement of the yellow sand. Look, that bastard Xiaoping escaped. An audience heard the wind and immediately looked up. He saw Xiaoping jump into the air, as if he was going to escape. Chapter 61. What's going on? Why did Xiaoping run away? One of the spectators was puzzled. He didn't understand why Xiaoping would suddenly run away. If this guy lost, he shouldn't be able to move. But if he won, there was no need to run away at all. With this kid's strength alone, no one could stop him. Look, senior sister Chu has also disappeared. She seems to have been captured by that shameless Xiaoping. The yellow sand and dust in the sky gradually dispersed, and some people also discovered that Chu Rong's figure had also disappeared. Many people also discovered this situation, and their expressions changed greatly. Damn it! Why did Xiaoping capture Senior Sister Chu? What is he trying to do? Could it be that bastard wants to harm Senior Sister Chu? But since he can capture Miss Chu, it means that he has won. Why would he do such a thing? The crowd discussed spiritedly, feeling that it was incomparably strange. Everyone look, there's a pile of debris on the ground. Those are fragments of Senior Sister Chu's clothes. Even if I turn into ashes, I can still recognize it. A martial arts student shouted, seemingly very shocked. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A group of people immediately looked over, and sure enough, there was a pile of debris on the ground, as if it had been shaken into pieces by a powerful force. Cracks had even appeared on the ground. Even a hard marble floor had been shaken to such a state. One could imagine how intense the battle had been, and how terrifying its destructive power was. I remember, all of a sudden, someone's expression changed drastically. When that bastard Xiaoping grabbed young Miss Chu and ran away, even though I only caught a glimpse of her, I vaguely saw that she wasn't wearing any clothes at all. Her entire body was held by Xiaoping. At that time, I thought it was an illusion, but I didn't expect it to be true. I understand, it must be that bastard Xiaoping just beat Senior Sister Chu. But that Xiaoping is shameless, and while Senior Sister Chu was unprepared, he tore her clothes in front of everyone. A student said indignantly. Senior Sister Chu refused, so he forced himself on her and took her away. This Xiaoping is a mountain bandit. Damn, tearing a woman's clothes in front of everyone. How could this Xiaoping have such an idea? This isn't a asterisk, 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 asterisk. Could it be that he had wanted to do such a thing for a long time? How could he do such a thing? This Xiaoping is not human. It's fine if he won, but he actually snatched the person away as well. Is he a bandit? What is that bastard trying to do by snatching away the naked young Miss Chu? Are you AF asterisk king fool? We're all men, so what else can we do? He must be thinking of doing all kinds of things to Miss Chu, even forcing her into all kinds of embarrassing positions. It's over, it's over. Miss Chu's innocence will definitely be taken away by that bastard Xiaoping. Another beauty has fallen into the hands of the beast Xiaoping. This world is hopeless. The next time young Miss Chu appears, she won't be the same young Miss Chu that we know anymore. She'll have already been trained by that bastard countless times. Damn it, I'm so envious of her. Heavens, is there no one to deal with this beast? He has done a lot of evil. Everyone was filled with grief and indignation. All of them were howling in grief, and their eyes were red. Especially the many spectators present, they were all fans of Chu Rong, but now she was actually carried away by a man in front of so many people, taken to a secret room, and done all kinds of things that could not be described. Thinking of this, they were all envious, jealous, and hateful. How could this bastard Xiaoping's luck be so good? How could he be able to have such a good time with such a beauty? Call the police. We need to call the police immediately, capture that B. Xiaoping, and send him to prison. He is robbing a woman. A martial arts student said angrily. No matter what, he had to destroy Xiaoping's good fortune. Chu Rong was their goddess. She was simply in existence like their dream lover. How could she be so easily defiled by a shameless beast? Absolutely not. But someone else said, but he has already signed a contract with Chu Rong to be his 8th lover. Both sides have agreed to this matter. We have no reason to call the police. Even if we call the police won't care. Hearing this, everyone was even more indignant and depressed to the extreme. This road was blocked. If they couldn't call the police, they couldn't arrest Xiaoping and put him in prison. In other words, they could only watch the bastard do whatever he wanted and ruin all kinds of beauties. I can't accept it. A martial arts student looked up to the sky and sighed. That Xiaoping is a beast. He came to our martial arts club to bully people and do all kinds of evil, but we can't do anything about him. Is there any justice in this world? No, I think there is still justice in this world. Although the law can't punish him, we can expose his true colors, let more people spit on him, and make his reputation worse than dog shit. Yes, let's post on the internet, create rumors, and ruin his reputation. Bullshit rumors. These are all facts. They're facts, you know. That's right. Although we don't have any evidence, we can see the whole picture. That Xiaoping is definitely a bitch. This matter must be done as soon as possible. Otherwise, I don't know how many ignorant girls will be killed by him. If we delay for a second, the innocence of a few girls may be ruined by his hands. Everyone was filled with righteous indignation, and their emotions were surging. At this time, in the depths of the Chu clan's martial arts club, in a bedroom. Damn it, that bastard really left? Chu Rong looked at the empty room and thought of the figure that had disappeared long ago. She couldn't help but feel sullen. When she was caught by this bastard Xiaoping and brought back here, she thought that this guy would do all kinds of indescribable things to her. Even Chu Rong decided that once this bastard dared to do anything to her, even if there were any signs of it, even if she exhausted all her strength, she would kick this bastard's vital parts. But she didn't expect this guy to be such a gentleman. He just carried her back to this place and then left without any reluctance to leave. Could it be that the guy is actually impotent? Chu Rong couldn't help but think so. Otherwise, there was no way. In the face of a beauty like her, he was indifferent. Was he still a man? Or was it that she didn't have any charm at all? She couldn't even charm a man. Impossible. It's definitely not my problem. It must be that guy's problem. Chu Rong absolutely refused to admit that she didn't have charm, but she admitted that her failure was too serious. She actually lost face in front of so many people, and even almost lost her innocence. Chapter 62. The next morning, Xiaoping stretched lazily and woke up from his bed. Suddenly, the system sounded a mechanical voice. Congratulations to the host. So far, the host has received a total of 7,436 hatred points. What? Xiaoping was taken aback. What happened? I remember there were only 3,000 or 4,000 hatred points yesterday. How come after sleeping, there were 2,000 or 3,000 more hatred points? Last night, there seemed to be a lot of people cursing the host on the internet, attracting a lot of hatred. The system guessed. Maybe it's because the host robbed a woman yesterday. Robbing a woman? The corner of Xiaoping's mouth twitched. He was just kind enough to take Chu Rong back so that she wouldn't be exposed. How did he become a bully who robbed a woman? It was too unfair. But forget it. Anyway, I got 3,000 or 4,000 hatred points. This is a huge harvest. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Xiaoping touched his chin and smiled slightly. And after a week of continuous cultivation, the golden potions he brought back from Black Moon City were basically consumed. If he wanted to promote quickly again, he would need to obtain a lot of resources. But he was also very satisfied with his cultivation progress. In just over a week, he had cultivated from the 6th heaven of martial arts to the 7th heaven. Even among the countless students in the entire Tianshui city, he was among the best. I still cultivate too fast. I must consolidate the foundation of martial arts, so that when the foundation is unstable, it will be a little troublesome. Xiaoping thought about it. Today, I will cultivate in seclusion at home for a day and ask for leave to rest. He decided to take a temporary leave today and cultivate in seclusion for a day. At this time, Tianshui City 95th High School, Class 36. Jiang Yaru came to school as usual, but for some reason, from the entrance of the school until she entered the classroom, there were many people pointing at her and whispering, as if she was some rare animal. This made her feel very strange, and she could not understand it no matter how she thought about it. When Jiang Yaru returned to her seat and sat down, 5 or 6 girls in the class immediately surrounded her. The other students in the class also looked over with a look of gossip on their faces. Yaru, it's over, you've been cuckolded, you know? That Xiaoping is simply a beast. He can even do this kind of thing. Yaru, you don't need to be sad. Just kick a man like that away. It's no big deal. That's right, that's right. It doesn't matter even if you're pregnant. You can just have an abortion. Staying with a man like that will ruin your life. Don't go into a wolf's den. A few girls shouted as if the sky was falling. Cuckolded. Jiang Yaru was dumbfounded. She had no idea what her female classmates were trying to say. She blinked her beautiful eyes and asked, "Just what are you guys talking about? I don't understand a single word you're saying." Yaru, didn't you go online? Don't you know what happened last night? A tall girl asked in surprise. Jiang Yara nodded. I was cultivating the entire night last night, so I didn't have a chance to go online. When I was tired, I went straight to bed and came to school in the morning. How diligent. The girls were filled with admiration. It was one thing for Lin Fan to be a genius, but he was even more hard-working than them. How could they compare to him? There was simply no way they could compare. Yaru, I feel like you're just this diligent. You're always cultivating, but you're careless. That's why you gave that bastard Xia Ping the chance to cheat on you. You should have been watching him at all times. A fat girl was resentful that Lin Fan didn't live up to her expectations. Once there's such a sign, you should have kicked his balls. You absolutely can't give him the chance to cheat on you. Jiang Yaru was depressed to the extreme. Cheat on me? Just what are you guys trying to say? What else could it be? The tall girl shouted. You also know that recently, that Xia Ping has been constantly challenging all the big dojos after school, beating up all the geniuses from the big schools. Jiang Yaru also expressed that she knew about this matter. Every time she wanted to find trouble with that bastard, he would use all kinds of excuses to escape, saying that he wanted to challenge the dojos. Moreover, this matter had already become the school's news. Basically, there weren't many people who didn't know about it. Just last night, he challenged the strongest dojo nearby, the Chu Clan Dojo. There's a senior sister there, Chu Rong. She's the campus belle of 88 Middle School. The tall girl said. Jiang Yaru's beautiful eyes lit up. She also knew Chu Rong. After all, this woman was her biggest competitor. They had always been at each other's throats. Naturally, she was very familiar with the other party. He went to challenge the Chu Clan Dojo? Jiang Yaru asked curiously. Then he must have faced Chu Rong. What was the result? Did that kid get beaten up? She was very clear about Chu Rong's strength. She was at the 7th heavenly layer of martial disciple and had cultivated extremely terrifying martial skills. Her true combat strength might even be stronger than her own. That bastard Xia Ping definitely had no hope of winning against such a strong person. No, not only was he not beaten up, the tall girl said with grief and indignation. That beast Xia Ping's methods are very high. I don't know what method he used, but he defeated Chu Rong and even signed a contract, making Chu Rong his 8th lover. Just last night, under the watchful eyes of everyone, that bastard ran away with Chu Rong. Some people said that the two of them went to a nearby hotel to get a room. What? Jiang Yaru was taken aback. She didn't expect Xia Ping to be able to defeat Chu Rong. Was this bastard already strong to this extent? No, the problem didn't seem to be this. Could this bastard even get a room with Chu Rong? She was simply dumbfounded. No way, is this true or false? Jiang Yaru couldn't believe it. The tall girl shouted, How can it be false? At that time, there were hundreds of people watching the Chu Clan Dojo. Men could be relied on. Pigs can climb trees. To be honest, I always thought that the bastard stepping on more than a dozen boats was a rumor. I didn't expect it to be true. Even Chu Rong was picked up by him. How can it be false? When I went to the teacher's office just now, I heard the news of that guy taking a leave of absence. It is said that he won't come today. It seems that there is something wrong with his body. What kind of problem is there? He's already at the 7th heavenly layer of martial disciple. He's as strong as a calf. He must have been crazy with that little mistress, Chu Rong, last night. He's not willing to get up this morning. God punishes Xia Ping. He's already hooked up with a beauty like Yaru, yet he's still willing to cheat. Shameless to the extreme. God angers man. The group of girls chattered among themselves. They were furious to the extreme. Jiang Yaru was speechless. Although her friends were angry for her, in reality, she had nothing to do with that bastard. There was no place to be angry, even if she wanted to. Chapter 63. At this time, Tinshui City Marie Hospital, which is one of the best hospitals in the entire Tinshui City, is fully equipped and the doctors are skilled, but the only problem is that the price is expensive and the poor dare not come in at all. And in a separate ward in the hospital, there was a bang, and there was a sound of a vase being broken, mixed with anger to the extreme, like a wounded beast. Xia Ping. The person lying on the hospital bed was Zhou Tai. His face was distorted, his fists were clenched, and he was obviously angry to the extreme. With the brilliant treatment equipment here in Marie Hospital, It cost millions of federal coins. The injury that would have taken a month to heal is now almost healed in a week. But just when he was in a good mood, he saw the news of Xia Ping on the internet, and he was so angry that he could no longer suppress the anger that he had accumulated for a week. This week, I can only lie in hospital bed, receiving treatment like a mummy, and you, Xia Ping, have a very comfortable life, and even can be said to be thriving. Zhou Taiyan's face was gloomy. Challenging the martial arts hall, promoted to the 7th heaven of martial arts, and even the school flower of 88 Middle School, the famous beauty anchor on the internet. If this goes on, won't that bastard be able to ride on my head and shit and pee? Can I, Zhou Taiyan, still take revenge? He was extremely unwilling and very jealous. He didn't know how much effort and resources he had consumed in order to be promoted to the 6th heaven of martial arts. But this kid, it seems that there is no bottleneck in his cultivation. He has broken through again and again, and now he has been promoted to the 7th heaven of martial arts. Not only his combat power, but even his cultivation base is above him. How can this make him convinced? Son, with a snap, the door of the ward was pushed open, and a middle-aged man in a black suit came in from the outside. He exuded the aura of a hero, and behind him were 4 or 5 black-clothed bodyguards. He is Zhou Taiyan's father, Zhou Ding, the owner of the Zhou restaurant. He is worth hundreds of millions and has thousands of subordinates. It is said that he has a deep relationship with the underworld forces. Even his cultivation base is very strong, reaching the realm of the 9th heaven of martial arts. Seeing the vase fragments on the ground, Zhou Ding frowned and stared at his son. Did you lose your temper just now? Didn't the doctor tell you not to get angry easily, or it will affect the recovery of your injuries? Yes, Dad, I lost my temper, but I can't accept it. Zhou Taiyan gritted his teeth. What is Xia Ping? His family background is mediocre. He is just a poor ghost. Before, he was just a waste of the 3rd heaven of martial arts. No one looked up to him. As for me, I, Zhou Taiyan, train hard every day. I train in the winter and in the summer. I never slack off. I even have a lot of resources to help me. Why can't I compare to him? But I lost. In the arena, I was beaten like a dead dog by him and became the laughingstock of the academy. How can I accept this? He clenched his fists, his whole body trembling. Zhou Ding looked at his son and couldn't help but sigh. He knew that his son's life had been smooth sailing since he was a child. He was high and mighty with a strong sense of self-esteem. He had never suffered any setbacks. It was normal for him to be unable to accept such a huge setback all of a sudden. Shut up, Zhou Ding roared. You are my son. Who are you trying to show this cowardly look to? It's just the son of an urban management officer. If you don't want to see him, I'll make him disappear. His tone was incomparably majestic. Dad, Zhou Taiyan was stunned and looked at his father. Today I want to tell you one thing. Martial art cultivation is not everything. Power is everything. Zhou Ding stood with his hands behind his back. So what if Xia Ping is a genius? I spend some money and find someone to break his legs and abolish his cultivation base. Can he still fly? A genius who hasn't grown up is not even a fart. Once he loses his cultivation base, Xia Ping is just an ant. He will be ridden by you for the rest of his life. What will he use to compare with you? His tone was extremely fierce. Zhou Taiyan knew that his father was not joking. He had such power. Although their family was just a restaurant, they also secretly did some smuggling activities that could not be seen and were involved with the underworld forces. Once he used the power in his father's hands, it would be easy to crush a person in the 7th heaven of martial arts. I, Zhou Ding, am not someone who can be hurt by anyone. Zhou Ding sneered and said, to be able to teach a bastard like Xia Ping who doesn't know the difference between superiors and inferiors, his parents can't forgive him. This is a felony and must be punished severely. I will also send someone to break the legs of the 2 of them. They can only kneel on the ground and beg for the rest of their lives. His tone was very indifferent, as if he was talking about a simple thing, as if he was not dealing with people, but 2 ants on the ground. But now medical technology is advanced. Even if their legs are broken, as long as there is money, they can recover. Zhou Taiyan's eyes also showed a trace of cruelty. He wanted to drive Xiaoping's family to hell. Zhou Ding waved his hand. I have investigated them. They're just middle-class people. The house they live in is worth at most 1 million federal coins, and it was bought with a 30-year loan. The bank deposit is less than 100,000. The legs of a family of 3 are all broken. The treatment costs at least 5 million. In other words, if they want to restore their original state, they must sell the house, borrow from east and west, and go bankrupt. But so what? When they recover from their treatment, I will send someone over to break their legs. At that time, let's see if they can still take out the money. If they can't take out the money, they can only kneel for the rest of their lives. Even Zhou Taiyan couldn't help but feel a chill when he heard this. According to his father's methods, Xiaoping's family would definitely fall into eternal damnation. The so-called destruction of the family was nothing more than this. Even if Xiaoping was a genius, without his legs, he was just a piece of trash. At that time, how could he compare to him? Thinking of this, Zhou Taiyan couldn't help but reveal a trace of carefree emotion in his heart. Who asked you to be so smug in the arena and humiliate me like this? This time, I will definitely kill you. Even your family will not be able to escape this fate. Chendong. Zhou Ding looked at a black-clothed strong man behind him and ordered, I will leave this matter to you. Remember to do it well and don't reveal any flaws. Understand? Yes, boss, we are familiar with this kind of thing. The black-clothed strong man revealed a mouthful of white teeth. He was extremely ferocious, like a shark. For underworld figures like them, doing this kind of thing was simply common. Yes, Zhou Ding nodded. For a superior, it was enough to give an order to a small figure. Do it himself? Chapter 64. In the evening, after cultivating in seclusion at home for an entire day, Xiaoping exhaled and opened his eyes, revealing a glimmer of light. The air around him trembled, and there was a faint roar of tigers and leopards. Bang! He stood up and punched the air. A powerful force was transmitted from his feet, and immediately there was a sound of air explosion, showing a terrifying destructive power. It's finally stable. Xiaoping exhaled and smiled gently. After a day of seclusion, he finally stabilized the true qi in his body. He even felt that his martial arts cultivation had improved a little. Gurgle, he touched his stomach. After cultivating for an entire day, his stomach seemed to be a little hungry. With a bang, he pushed open the door and walked out of the bedroom. His parents had not returned yet. His father was probably still working in the government department, and his mother should have gone out to set up a stall. Thinking of this, Xiaoping could not help but feel a trace of warmth in his heart. It was because of his parents that he could eat 3 meals a day and not sleep in the open. He grew up healthily. Although their family was not a very rich family, it was very warm, and he liked this kind of warm atmosphere. After a while, my royalties should be in my account soon. Xiaoping clenched his fist and smiled. At that time, I can pay off the 30 years loan for this house. I can even move to a bigger house and eat monster meat for meals. However, taking out such a large sum of money so rashly will definitely scare my parents. Thinking of this, he could not help but smile, as if he could imagine the shock and disbelief on his parents' faces when they heard that he had earned a large sum of money. Ring, ring, ring. Suddenly, the public phone at home rang. Xiaoping tapped it lightly, and the phone was immediately transferred to his phone. He pressed the answer button. Hello, is this Xia Chuanyo's home? I am an employee of Xuanfei Express Company. There is a delivery that needs you to sign for it. Is it convenient for you to sign for it? An unfamiliar man's voice immediately came from the phone. Xiaoping was stunned and said, Delivery? But we haven't bought anything online recently? I'm not sure about that. Maybe it's your relatives or friends who want to send something to you. The courier said, Anyway, come to the entrance of the residential area to pick up the delivery. His tone seemed to be very impatient. Xiaoping nodded. It was not impossible. He hesitated for a moment and said, Okay, I'll go out now. After that, he walked toward the entrance of the residential area. Sure enough, at the entrance, there was a young man in a blue uniform. He was holding a white paper box in his hand and seemed to be impatiently waiting for someone. Are you Mr. Xiao? The eyes of the man in blue seemed very sharp, and he immediately saw Xiaoping coming out. Yes, I am. Xiaoping nodded. The blue-clothed man smiled faintly and said, That's good. Open it and see if there are any problems with the goods inside. If there are no problems, then sign for it. Okay. Xiaoping's eyes flashed as he looked at the man in blue. He reached out and took the white paper box. With a he of he of he and of he and of and hua ping he of he. Damn it. There was a trace of anger in Xiaoping's eyes. How could he not know that he had fallen into a trap? If he had not practiced the pure yang immortal art, he would have fallen into the trap. The red smoke contained a strange aura, which seemed to be able to strongly numb the nerves. How is this possible? This is the dizzying red mist, which is extracted from countless precious herbs. Even if an elephant smelled it, it would instantly fall to the ground, unconscious for 3 days and 3 nights. You actually did not faint? The man in blue seemed to be unable to believe his own eyes and looked at Xiaoping in disbelief. I am fine, but you are. Xiaoping was full of anger. He clenched his fists. He did not intend to let go of this person who had ill intentions. I will let you go this time. Next time, you will not be so lucky. After saying this, the man in blue was very decisive. He turned and ran away. His speed was extremely fast. Want to run? Xiaoping chased after him like a cheetah. However, the man was not simple either. He seemed to be proficient in Qigong. After a few jumps, he disappeared and ran toward the alley in the distance. His body was extremely light. Xiaoping chased after him. In a few minutes, he blocked the man in blue in a remote alley. It was a dead end, and there was no one around. His eyes flickered. He sensed the aura around him and frowned. You deliberately led me here? You're a bit clever. The man in blue laughed. His small eyes revealed a trace of cunning and ruthlessness. The reason why I lowered my speed and did not get rid of you immediately was to lead you here to deal with you. I did not expect you to be so stupid. You fell for it immediately. He looked at Xiaoping with a smug expression. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as he said this, 3 or 4 men in black appeared in the dark alley. They were strong and had ferocious expressions. There were also 3 or 4 men in black at the entrance. All of a sudden, Xiaoping was surrounded in the alley by these men in black. Little Six, you did a good job. It was the right decision to let you personally lead this kid here. From among these men in black, an extremely tall man, at least 2 meters tall, walked out. He clapped his hands. Obviously, he was very satisfied with the man in blue's work. Brother Dong, of course, Little Six will do what you ordered. The man in blue nodded and bowed, showing a servile look as if he wanted to lick the man's shoes. But I didn't expect that the first plan would fail, and I would have to use the second plan to lure him here. He had prepared 2 sets of plans. The first was to use knockout powder to knock Xiaoping out and send him away. However, it failed. Now, it was the second plan. Obviously, he had succeeded. It's okay. The result is everything. You have successfully led him to this place. The man called Brother Dong nodded. He turned to look at Xiaoping and said lightly, Kid, do you know why I, Chen Dong, lured you to this deserted alley? There is no other reason. It is because you have offended someone you should not have. Chapter 65. Offended someone you shouldn't have offended? Hearing this, Xiaoping frowned, looked at the man named Chen Dong, and said, Interesting, can I ask who the person I offended is? He knew that these black-clothed men who suddenly appeared were definitely not good people. They had seen blood and killed people, and they were by no means ordinary people. Those underworld figures in Black Moon City were very similar to these people. No, you don't need to know this in your life. Chen Dong said lightly, You only need to know one thing. I will break your legs, and you can only live in a wheelchair in the future, and the only way to make a living is to go begging on the street. This is to teach you a lesson. Little people are little people. If you want too many things that don't belong to you, it will kill you. He exuded a murderous aura, cruel and merciless, a ruthless person, a real underworld dog, will not care about the lives of any ordinary people. Break my legs? Xiaoping looked at these people faintly. I'm afraid you don't have this ability. Boom! As soon as the voice fell, he stepped on the ground with one foot. Like a wild elephant trampling, the whole ground cracked, the gravel splashed, the earth shook, and countless cracks appeared on the ground. Xiaoping grabbed with his big hand and immediately grabbed 5 or 6 stones, ran the true qi in his body, and smashed them towards the black-clothed men in front of him, tearing the air. How terrifying was this smash? Since Xiaoping was promoted to the 7th heaven of martial arts, his strength has reached 10,000 jin, enough to rival the strong of the 9th heaven of martial arts. Compared to when he was in Black Moon City, I don't know how many times more tyrannical. Such a stone, with a huge force of 10,000 jin, is more terrifying than a sniper bullet. And these black-clothed men are only 5 or 6 meters away from Xiaoping. Such a short distance, such a fast speed. How can this be blocked? There is no way to block it at all. Bang, bang, bang. The stone arrived in an instant, and the 3 black-clothed men in front were pierced by the stone. A bloody hole appeared in their chest, and they screamed and were killed at once. Their eyes were wide open, showing a look of horror. It seemed that they did not expect that they would be killed by this high school student, and they did not even have the strength to fight back. With a plop, their corpses fell to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. Blood dripped on the ground. What? The man in blue was so scared that his face turned pale, and his eyes were filled with terror. He couldn't believe that this brat actually dared to fight back. Moreover, he even dared to kill them without any mercy. He was even more ruthless than them. You're courting death. Dong was shocked and infuriated to the extreme. How could he have imagined that a little high school student would actually be so ruthless to such an extent? He didn't say anything and struck a killing blow without showing any mercy. In just a breath's time, 3 of his elite subordinates had died tragically in front of him. This loss was too heavy. Die! Xiaoping had no intention of showing mercy. Since these people wanted to find trouble with him, and even wanted to kill him, he had no intention of showing mercy. He only had one way to deal with his enemies, and that was to kill. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Another 3 stones flew out, cutting through the air and emitting a sharp whistling sound. It was as if they had reached the sound barrier, like the voice of the god of death. Damn it! Dong wanted to block it, but it was too late. He couldn't keep up with the speed at all. With a few puffs, the throats of the remaining 3 black-clothed men were pierced at once. Their eyes were wide open as they covered their throats, unable to say anything at all. Before they died, they didn't expect that they would be killed by a little high school student. One must know that they were all underworld figures, the powerhouses of the 7th heaven of martial arts. But in front of this kid, they couldn't even withstand one move and were instantly killed. But this was the case in a battle of life and death. There was no time to fight for 300 rounds. One move was enough to determine life and death. Xiaoping, Dong shouted angrily, his face hideous. You dare to kill my men and do such a rebellious thing. I, Dong, want you to die. I want you to be torn into pieces. Do you understand? He was so angry that he couldn't hide his inner anger at all. Now he didn't want to cripple this kid's legs anymore. He just wanted to tear him into pieces. Otherwise, the blood feud of his men and the monstrous hatred in his heart couldn't be filled at all. As for the boss's instructions, he didn't want to care anymore. Now he just wanted to kill this damn bastard and tear his body into pieces. Boom! At this moment, a terrifying aura burst out of Dong's body, showing the powerful strength of the 9th heaven of martial arts. His whole person was like a bursting bear, and his clothes were shattered. High-level martial art, Black Bear, Earth Fiend Fist. Vaguely, when this fist blasted out, it seemed to strike out the phantom of a black bear. The explosive bear roared, displaying terrifying power, enough to smash a rock into pieces, and even a war chariot could be pierced through and overturned. This was the power of the peak of the martial arts realm. What? Dong was shocked because he found that this kid had no intention of dodging at all. He was still standing in the same place, looking at him indifferently. His face was extremely calm, as if he looked down on his punch. You're courting death. Dong's face was ferocious, and he was even more angry. Since the other party wanted to die, then he would fulfill this kid's wish. He would punch this bastard's body into pieces. Boom! The punch landed solidly on Xiaoping's body. It was as if hundreds of tons of explosives had exploded. A roar rang out, and the energy vibrated. Even the cement floor under his feet instantly cracked, and gravel scattered. What's going on? Dong was surprised to the extreme and inexplicably horrified. He felt that his punch seemed to have hit cotton. The high school student in front of him didn't move at all, and he couldn't let the other party move half a step. Not good. Run away. At this moment, endless fear surged in his heart, feeling that the great horror between life and death was coming. He tried his best to punch, but couldn't defeat the other party. The old force had just passed, and a new force had not yet been generated. How could he resist the other party's attack? Snake fist, spirit snake drilling hole. Xiaoping's right hand turned into a snake and poked heavily. With a bang, like cutting tofu, it easily pierced Dong's chest and directly burst his heart. Dong stared at Xiaoping. He couldn't believe that he, a powerhouse of the ninth heaven of martial arts, was killed by the other party like this, and his heart was blown up with one blow. But no matter how unwilling he was already dead, and his body slammed heavily on the ground. Run! The man in blue was so scared that he peed his pants. Seeing so many powerhouses die tragically in the hands of this young man, how could he get any better? He immediately ran the true qi in his body and wanted to use Qigong to escape. Chapter 66. The man in blue fell from the sky, hugged his feet, fell to the ground, screaming in pain, like a pig being slaughtered, extremely shrill and harsh, and still rolling on the ground. Having his left foot pierced through is simply too painful. This practically wasted half of his strength. The pain caused cold sweat to appear on his forehead and his entire body to tremble. Still want to escape? Xiaoping arrived in front of the man in blue and looked down at him indifferently. How is this possible? The man in blue looked at Xiaoping in disbelief. If you have this ability, why didn't you kill me in the beginning, but followed me to this alley? It's very simple, because I did it on purpose. I just wanted to see who was behind you to plot against me. So I let you escape and followed you here. Xiaoping said lightly. When a man in blue ran away, he knew that the other party did not escape with all his strength, but with a purpose to lead him to this place. So he beat him at his own game. Sure enough, the man in blue was immediately fooled and brought out the person behind him. Let me escape? The man in blue's eyes showed endless regret, and a chill surged in his heart. What a terrible young man, ruthless, cruel, powerful. This is simply the appearance of a hero. If he had known that this kid was such a terrible person, he would never have come to provoke him. Unfortunately, it's too late now. It's too late. Speak. Xiaoping looked at the man in blue. Who told you to cripple me? Such an underworld character is definitely not sent by ordinary people. If he doesn't investigate clearly, he will definitely be unable to sleep and eat in peace. Who knows if such characters will appear one after another? I won't tell you anything, just kill me. The man in blue gritted his teeth, very stubborn, and looked at Xiaoping with hatred in his eyes. It won't be long before you end up like me. You will also die, do you know? He didn't want to tell Xiaoping anything. So that's how it is. It's a pity that you used it in the wrong place. Xiaoping said coldly. But do you think that I can't do anything about it? With a whoosh, he took out a red pill from his body. This is the beginner honesty pill that has just been exchanged from the system. It is worth 100 hatred points. As long as you take this honesty pill, no matter how stubborn a person is, they will not be able to tell a lie. What is this? The blue-clothed man's eyes were filled with fear. He didn't know what this strange thing was, but before he could resist, Xiaoping grabbed his mouth and forcefully fed him. Gurgle. Soon, the pill was swallowed by the blue-clothed man and was quickly digested in his stomach. What did you feed me? Is it poison? The man in blue stared at Xiaoping with resentment. It's useless. I've said it before. Even if you threaten me with death, I won't say anything. Xiaoping asked, Tell me, who is the person behind you? I'm not too sure about that. I'm just a small fry, an errand boy. Only Big Brother, Chin Dong, knows who's behind this. The man in blue instinctively said this, but his face immediately showed a look of horror. How is this possible? Why did I spill the beans? What the hell is going on? It turns out to be a small fry. You don't know anything, but you're still being stubborn here. I'm so disappointed. Xiaoping was very disappointed. Then what do you know? Hearing this, the man in blue suddenly became angry. Shut up. I'm also a very important character. Do you know that? It's not that I don't know anything. At least I know that Chun Dong and the others not only want to deal with you, but even your mother. Counting the time, they have already sent someone to drive a car and break your mother's leg. What? Hearing this, Xiaoping clenched his fists and his eyes showed coldness. He said almost word by word, they not only want to deal with me, but also want to deal with my mother? Do they want to die? His body was filled with a terrifying murderous aura, almost condensed into a substance. To be honest, he was not a person who was easily angered, but the way these people did things had touched his bottom line. They were simply unscrupulous, and they even dared to do something to his parents. A violent flame surged in Xiaoping's heart. No matter who it was, if they dared to do something to his parents, they would have to pay the price. Ring, ring. At this moment, his cell phone rang. It was his father, Xia Chuanlu, who called. He picked it up, and an anxious voice came from the other side. Son, something happened to your mother. Dad, I'm listening. Xiaoping gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. Xia Chuanlu said, just now, your mother was about to close the stall and go home, but she didn't expect a madman to disobey the traffic rules. He ran amok and directly hit your mother. She was seriously injured on the spot. Now your mother has been sent to the First People's Hospital of Tianshui City for rescue. That bastard hit and ran away. Anyway, I'll go see your mother first after work. You could take care of dinner tonight. After saying that, he hung up the phone with a snap. Damn it. Xiaoping stepped on the ground, and with a bang, a hole immediately appeared in the ground. Gravel flew everywhere, and there was a roar. It was like a wild elephant trampling on the ground, and more than a dozen cracks spread out. When a man in blue saw this scene, his whole body trembled, and he looked at Xiaoping in horror. I've already told him everything. Why don't you let me go and spare me this time? You also know that I'm just a small fry innocent. Boom! Xiaoping's backhand palm, with more than 1,000 pounds of force, smashed the top of the man in blue's head in an instant. The man died on the spot and no longer breathed. No one is innocent. The moment you dare to attack my family, you must die. He looked at the dead man in blue indifferently, without the slightest pity. A poisonous snake like this, if you let it go, it will only bite him back, so it's better to get rid of it immediately. Exchange, corpse dissolving water. Xiaoping moved his mind and spent 100 hatred points to exchange for a bottle of corpse dissolving water. He dripped the liquid on the dead bodies on the ground one by one. Zizi, suddenly, the corpses on the ground, even the blood, melted like ice and snow the moment they came into contact with the corpse dissolving water. They quickly turned into a wisp of smoke and disappeared from this world. Except for Xiaoping, no one knew that these people were dead, and even their corpses could not be found again. In a big city like Tianshui City, it's normal for a few people to disappear sometimes. No matter who the people behind you are, if you dare to hurt my family, you can't escape. Xiaoping's eyes showed a cold light, left the dark alley, and walked towards the First People's Hospital of Tianshui City. Chapter 67. Tianshui City First People's Hospital. When Xiaoping arrived at the hospital, he saw his father sitting outside the emergency room. His face was ashen as if the sky had fallen, and his whole body was trembling. Dad, how is Mom? Xiaoping asked immediately. When Xia Chuanlu saw his son coming, his tone was very heavy. Your mother is out of danger. Because of the timely rescue, her life is not in danger. You know, technology is very advanced now. As long as she doesn't die on the spot, she can be saved. But after being hit like this, your mother's legs are fractured, and they are comminuted fractures, making her a disabled person. It will cost at least 700,000 to treat her. Xiaoping also knew why his father's face was so dignified. Although they were a family of 3 and their usual consumption was not very large, it was simply impossible to take out $700,000 in a short time. They hadn't even paid off the house loan. How could their family take out $700,000? Moreover, the other party ran away after the accident, and they couldn't even find his shadow. It was impossible to compensate in a short time. There's no other way. Xia Chuanlu gritted his teeth. We can only sell the family house to get enough for the handling fee. Fortunately, the real estate industry in Tianshui City is still relatively advanced now. The value is very fast, and it is easy to sell. We should be able to sell it for $3 million. Even if we pay off the loan, there will be $1 million left. It's just that it will be harder in the future. We can only rent a house to live in. He didn't expect such a thing to happen. It was simply an unexpected disaster. Dad, don't worry, we don't need to sell the house. Xiaoping said in a deep voice, I will pay for it. What? Xia Chuanlu was stunned. You will pay? He wondered if there was something wrong with his ears. His son wanted to pay 700,000 federal coins alone. Yes, I will pay it. Xiaoping nodded. I just made a sum of money before and got 1 million federal coins. It's more than enough to pay 700,000 federal coins for medical expenses. It's nothing. He took out his phone and projected a page, showing the amount on his bank account. Seeing the number above, Xia Chuanlu was stunned. Son, this is really 1 million? You, where did you get it from? Did you rob it? He was crazy. He had worked for more than 20 years and lived frugally. So far, he didn't have 1 million in savings, but his son was only a high school student and hadn't come out to work yet. But how could he have 1 million yuan in savings? How is this possible? I wrote a novel and made a lot of money. Xiaoping gave a brief account of what happened on the internet and explained the origin of his money. Then he said, also, how could I rob someone? I would be shot before I could even enter the door. I don't think there's much cash in the bank. Xia Chuanlu nodded. In this day and age, electronic money was the most popular currency. Although paper money was still used, it was greatly reduced. Direct online transfers were used. Even inside a bank, there wouldn't be a large amount of cash, not to mention the strict security inside the bank. The security guards were all armed, so who would dare to trespass? Thinking of this, he could only accept this explanation, and he couldn't help but feel a trace of gratification in his heart. Although he was useless, his son was promising. At least he didn't have to sell his house and live on the streets. Dad, I'll transfer the money to you. Go and pay for Mom so that she can receive treatment as soon as possible. Xiaoping transferred the 1 million federal coins in his account to his father's bank account. With a ding sound, Xia Chuanlu immediately received the information that his bank account had more than 1 million federal coins. As if in a dream, his hands were trembling. His son really earned 1 million. But he quickly restrained his emotions and said, Okay, I'll go to the hospital immediately to pay and have the doctor arrange an operation for you as soon as possible. Now that medical technology is advanced, as long as there is money, there is no disease that can't be cured. He was in high spirits and immediately went to pay the bill. Seeing his father leave, Xiaoping clenched his fists, and a cold light appeared in his eyes. Hit and run? Don't think you can escape like this. I will definitely catch you. System, what method do you have to track a strange enemy? The system's voice immediately sounded. There are a total of 3,983 methods, which are suitable for the current situation of the host. There's probably one that requires a relatively low hatred value. Speak, Xiaoping said in a deep voice. The system replied. There is a secret book called 10,000 Miles Tracking Technique. It operates the true qi in the body and can simulate the nose of a dog, distinguishing 9,873 smells. Even if it is 10,000 miles away, it can still track the other party. As long as the host learns this technique, it will be easy to find strange enemies. It is worth 1,000 hatred points. Xiaoping did not hesitate. Buy it. Yes, the host. Deduct 1,000 hatred points. The system's voice came out. Immediately, Xiaoping felt that there was a mantra in his mind, and then he instinctively ran this mantra, running along the mysterious route, and the true qi in his body surged. In a moment, his nose seemed to have a trace of it, as if the whole world had become different, and there seemed to be countless smells in the air. Men's, women's, stones, potions, clothes, shoes, and so on, all kinds of complex smells mixed together, intertwined into a world of smells. But this world of smells is incomparably clear in Xiaoping's mind. Whoosh! 10 minutes later, Xiaoping left the First People's Hospital of Tianshui City and came to the scene of the accident. It was a street, and there was still a blue car and a small cart. He saw that the blue car had been dented and deformed, and the small cart was broken into pieces. It can be imagined how serious the traffic accident just happened. At this time, the scene has been blocked by cloth strips. As the scene of the crime, the police still need to investigate the situation. Even the car and the small cart have to be left at the scene and have not been taken away for the time being. But after a while, these things should be moved away so as not to block the traffic. Driving without a license. Xiaoping's eyes flashed a cold light. Seeing that there was no license plate on the blue car, he knew that the other party deliberately drove this car over and hit his mother. Even if there was an accident, the police would not be able to trace the owner of the car through this car. It is estimated that this person has already thought of all kinds of retreat and has a strict plan. With such a thing happening, it is estimated that the other party has long wanted to run away. Want to run? I will definitely catch you. Chapter 68. At night, in a remote warehouse in Tianshui City. There were no signs of human habitation around the warehouse. There were car parts and other garbage everywhere. It seemed to be a car recycling station, specializing in recycling those scrap cars. The air was filled with a strong smell of gasoline. At this time, there was a brightly lit room in the middle of the warehouse. There were two middle-aged men inside. One was bald, and the other was fat, at least 200 or 300 pounds. Their characteristics were very obvious. Kong Shui, how did it go? Did it go well? The fat man looked at the bald man, Kong Shui, sitting opposite him with a burning gaze, as if he was asking for his opinion. The bald man picked up a glass of beer on the table, took a sip, and said, "Of course it went smoothly. That woman was hit by me on the spot. She was lucky not to die. Although I ran fast, I could hear the ambulance coming from behind. That woman's legs must have been broken. Meng Chong, are you still worried about me, Kong Shui?" He showed a proud look. Indeed. The fat man, Meng Chong, also nodded. Back then, you were also an underground racer. You were the best at driving. Controlling a car to break a person's legs was a piece of cake, but I didn't expect you to take this kind of business. Of course, the bald man, Kong Shui, said with a smile. That's a reward of $3 million federal dollars. Even if I drive 10 times, I may not get that much. Now it's just breaking a person's legs. It's a piece of cake. The most serious situation is a hit and run. If you're caught, you'll be sentenced to 7 years at most. Of course, it's best if you're not caught by the police and don't go to prison. He calculated it very clearly and had already thought about all kinds of consequences. Don't worry about that. The fat man, Meng Chong, smiled slightly. The car you drove was put together by me using the parts here. It's a model that absolutely doesn't exist on the market. Even the police can't find the origin of this car. You also know how much I pay to help you. I want 30% of the reward this time. His eyes also showed a greedy look. He didn't feel the slightest bit of guilt or even pity for the possibility of killing a person. Nothing was more important than money. Don't worry, we're just waiting for the client to pay the bill. The bald man, Kong Shui, waved his hand. You should know how trustworthy I am. I will never go back on my word. There will be many opportunities for us to work together in the future. The fat man, Meng Chong, also nodded his head. He naturally trusted this brother of his that he had known for a long time. He said, "However, does the woman that you sent flying have any background? If you end up provoking some trouble, it would be a little too much for you to gain." He was a little worried about that. You don't have to worry about that. I've already investigated that family. They're definitely commoners. Their 3 generations of ancestors don't have any prominent figures, and they don't know any high officials or nobles. The bald man sneered. That woman's husband is just a city enforcement officer. Her son is still a high school student with average grades. Her relatives and friends are also ordinary people. To be honest, even if they know that I did it, they can't do anything to me. They're just commoners. So what if I kill them? Are you going to bite me? His face was full of disdain. But I'm afraid that the police will come to investigate. The fat man, Meng Chong, was still a little cautious. I think it's better for you to leave Tianshui City and avoid the limelight. It's not too late to come back to this place after this storm is over. The bald man, Kong Shui, also nodded. I know this. I've booked a ticket for tomorrow morning. I'll leave after a night's rest. I'll come back after hiding for half a year. I guess by then, this case will be unsolved. He already had a series of detailed plans. No need. You won't be able to leave Tianshui City for the rest of your life. Suddenly, there was a sound outside the room. With a snap, the door opened. What? Both Meng Chong and Kong Shui were startled. They immediately jumped up from their chairs and looked at the door vigilantly. However, they saw a young man who looked like a high school student walking in from the door. Suddenly, they breathed a sigh of relief. Kid, who the hell are you? Do you know that this is a private residence? You're breaking into a private residence. If I call the police, you'll immediately be arrested and sent to prison for 7 days. The fat man, Meng Chong, threatened fiercely, trying to intimidate the young man in front of him. You should know very well who I am. The woman you hit today was my mother. Do you understand now? The person who spoke was Xiaoping. He used the 10,000 miles tracking technique to trace all the way to this warehouse and finally found the culprit. Even when he heard the words of these two people, a violent rage surged in his heart. He couldn't suppress it at all. What? The bald man, Kong Shui, was shocked. His face couldn't help but change. You're that woman's son? How is that possible? How did you track this place? He couldn't believe it. In order to create this traffic accident, he made a thorough plan. Even if the police had all kinds of high-tech means, they couldn't track him. But now, that woman's son actually came directly to his door and found him. I naturally have my own means. You don't need to know why. Xiaoping looked at the bald man faintly and said, The purpose of my coming here is very simple. There are only two. One is to find the person behind the scenes, and the other is to kill you. The killing intent in his heart was almost uncontrollable. If the other party drove a little faster and the ambulance was a little later, his mother would not just be disabled. It was also very likely that she would be killed directly. But these two bastards, just for a little money, did such a heartless thing. How could he forgive them? Kill us. The fat man, Meng Chong, suddenly smiled, but it was a sneer. What can a high school student like you do? Coming here alone is a mistake on your part. Die for me. As soon as his voice fell, he immediately pulled out a sharp, long knife from under the table. His move was fierce and ruthless. A cold light flashed in the air, and he stabbed towards Xiaoping's chest. Don't look at his fat figure, but when he really moved, he was extremely agile, like an ape. This fat man was also a strong martial artist at the eighth heaven. Snake fist, poisonous snake tail. In an instant, Xiaoping's figure was like a poisonous snake. In an instant, he went around the back of the fat man. With a light palm, he fell from the sky and slapped on the top of his head. Chapter 69. Boom! The fat man's eyes widened in disbelief, as if he couldn't believe that he had been killed just like that. His hand was still in a stabbing position. Immediately, his huge body, which weighed more than 150 kilograms, fell to the ground, splashing dust. A large amount of blood flowed from his body, staining the cement floor red. Fortunately, there was no one around. Otherwise, such a heavy smash would definitely be heard by the neighbors. Run! Seeing that his companion had been killed by a young man who looked like a high school student, the bald man, Kong Shui, was so scared that he wet his pants. He felt a terrible chill all over his body, and his whole body was trembling. Out of instinct, which had been in the underworld for a long time, he felt extremely dangerous. He wanted to escape from the house at an extremely fast speed, like a race car. Want to escape? Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness, and he grabbed a handful of stones from his trouser pocket. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, 2 or 3 stones flew out as fast as lightning, tearing through the air and whistling. In an instant, they pierced through the bald man's feet, leaving 2 bloody holes. Ah! The bald man let out a shrill scream. With a thud, he immediately fell to the ground. His face hit the ground hard, and his nose was bruised and swollen. Moreover, the pain of his legs being pierced spread all over his body. The pain made him break out in a cold sweat and tremble all over. It was a pain he had never experienced in his life. "You almost killed my mother with your car. Do you think I'll let you escape?" Xiaoping came in front of the bald man and looked down at him. The bald man was terrified. He trembled and said, "Spare me, I didn't do it on purpose. I really didn't do it on purpose. I wasn't the one who wanted to kill your mother. It wasn't me. Although I was the one who carried it out, the one who ordered me was someone else. He was terrified to the extreme. Seeing that the fat man was killed in an instant, he did not doubt the ruthlessness of the young man in front of him. He was definitely the kind of underworld hero. In an instant, he was shocked by the young man's means and did not dare to say anything tough. "I know you're just a puppet, but that doesn't cover up your mistakes. If it weren't for you, my mother wouldn't have been hospitalized with serious injuries. She almost died." Xiaoping's eyes were filled with coldness. "Whoever dares to touch my family, no matter who it is, must pay the price." The bald man, Kong Shui, shouted loudly, "Spare my life. Don't you want to know who is behind this? If you spare my life, I will tell you everything without hiding anything." "There's no need. You'll tell me everything," Xiaoping said indifferently. With a swoosh, he took out an honesty pill and immediately stuffed it into the bald man's mouth, forcing him to swallow it. After a while, the bald man's body immediately reacted, and his eyes were blank. "Tell me, who ordered you to do this?" Xiaoping asked. The bald man, Kong Shui, immediately said, "It was the owner of the Zhou restaurant, Zhou Ding, who ordered me to do this. He offered me $3 million federal dollars to break your mother's legs. If your father wasn't still working for the government, he would have been crippled as well." "What?" Xiaoping clenched his fists, and endless anger surged in his heart. The owner of the Zhou restaurant, Zhou Ding, not only wanted to kill his mother, but also wanted to cripple his father? "Wait, Zhou Ding, Zhou restaurant?" His eyes flashed, and he immediately thought of something. "No wonder I thought the name was familiar. Zhou Ding is Zhou Taiyan's father. In other words, Zhou Taiyan was the one who ordered this, and the purpose was to take revenge on me." He immediately understood the origin of this matter. It must be Zhou Taiyan's revenge. It is said that they have a follow-up plan. The bald man, Kong Shui, said in a deep voice, "Even if you cure your injuries, they will make a second plan. Their ultimate goal is to destroy your family and make you bankrupt. They won't stop until you become a cripple and beg on the streets." He told her everything he knew. Damn it! Xiaoping clenched his fists, and his killing intent boiled. His eyes revealed a cold light, as if the temperature around him had dropped by more than 10 degrees. He knew that Zhou Tai was a ruthless person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. But he did not expect the other to be so ruthless. He would not be satisfied until his family was destroyed. "Zhou Tai and Zhou Ding," Xiaoping clenched his teeth. "How dare you do such a thing? I will not forgive you." Then he asked for the location of Zhou Ding's family and other information. With a slap, the bald man, Kong Shui, regained consciousness. He seemed to realize what he had just said, and his expression changed. "How is this possible? I actually told you everything without hiding anything. What exactly did you feed me just now?" He immediately knew that the reason why he had become so strange must have something to do with the strange pill. But what kind of pill could make him say anything so easily? There was no way to lie. He suddenly felt that this young man was extremely mysterious and could not be provoked. But it was too late to find out now. "You don't need to know what I ate." Xiaoping looked coldly at the bald man. "The reason is simple. Dead people don't need to know anything." No, Kong Shui shouted. "I've already told you everything. You can't kill me. You definitely can't kill me. Do you understand? This is against the law. It's against the law." He hurriedly struggled and tried to resist. Bang! Before he could finish speaking, Xiaoping sent out a backhand palm strike with a force of 10,000 jin, slamming onto the bald man's head. With a cracking sound, the top of his skull was shattered on the spot, splitting into pieces and bleeding from his 7 orifices. With a slap, his body fell to the ground. His eyes were wide open. Before he died, There seemed to be hatred, fear, unwillingness, and regret. Sizzle. Xiaoping also took out the corpse-dissolving water and dripped it on the two men's bodies. In an instant, their bodies were completely melted. Even their clothes disappeared. In an instant, their existences were completely erased. They turned into a wisp of green smoke and disappeared from this world. Even if someone came to this warehouse, they would only think that the two men had fled to another city. After all, the two men had criminal records. Zhou Ding. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. I will come for you. I will not forgive either of you. Just wait to go to hell. Chapter 70. Jingde District. This was a well-known, wealthy district in Tianshui City. The houses here were basically villas, worth more than 10 million federal dollars, some even more than 100 million. The people who could live here were either rich or noble, and the security was extremely strict. Without the relevant documents and the owner's guarantee, even a fly couldn't get in. In the northeast of this district, there was a two-story villa. The decoration was extremely simple, with a green back garden and a separate garage, covering an area of about 500 square meters. There were no bodyguards around this villa, because the security system of Jingde District was enough to ensure the safety of the villa. There was no need to arrange bodyguards in their own villa at all. This was superfluous and superfluous. At this time, in the living room of the villa, Zhou Ding and Zhou Tai were sitting on the sofa opposite each other. Dad, Zhou Tai looked a little nervous. Do you think their plan succeeded? After a week of emergency treatment and spending a lot of money, his injuries had long recovered, so he didn't want to stay in a hospital anymore. Instead, he chose to go home. Don't worry. Zhou Ding waved his hand and sneered. The plan has succeeded. The other party called me before and already drove the woman to the hospital on the spot. Half of her body is paralyzed, and the medical expenses are at least hundreds of thousands. I sent someone to the hospital to check, and it's true. The woman is staying in the emergency room for emergency treatment. He showed a look of planning, not worried about any accidents, and in fact, there were no accidents. Hearing this, Zhou Ding was overjoyed, and his eyes showed a fierce light. That's great. If that damn Xiaoping knew about this, he would definitely go crazy. Maybe he would directly faint, but he deserved it. Who told him to be so arrogant? This is the result of offending me, Zhou Tai. But what about Xiaoping? How is he? Are his legs broken? He gritted his teeth. If there was someone he wanted to take revenge on the most, it was undoubtedly Xiaoping. He couldn't wait to see Xiaoping's miserable appearance. He wanted to see this guy kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. He could only kneel in front of him for the rest of his life. This guy would probably regret for the rest of his life. Why was he so stupid to dare to offend Zhou Tai? There's no news from Chundong's side for now. At this point, Zhou Ding frowned because according to the time, Chundong should have given him a call regardless of whether he succeeded or failed. But until now, he still hadn't received any news. This situation was very strange. Could there have been an accident? Zhou Tai was a little worried. Zhou Ding said indifferently, "What accidents can there be? No matter how powerful that kid is, he is just a high school student, a trash of the 7th heavenly layer, and Chundong is a powerhouse of the 9th heavenly layer. In addition, there are more than 10 elite subordinates. All of them are outlaws, cruel and ruthless, and have killed countless people. Once they're caught by the police, it wouldn't be wrong for them to be executed immediately. That brat still wants to escape from these outlaws? You must be dreaming." He sneered, his face full of disdain. In fact, sending out so many people was already thinking too highly of Xiaoping. If it wasn't for the sake of safety, he would have sent Chundong. Hearing this, Zhou Tai was immediately relieved and continued to ask, "But what about Xiaoping's father? That guy seems to be alive and kicking. Why not just cripple him?" He was ruthless, cruel, and ruthless. He wanted to completely cripple Xiaoping's family. "I can't find an opportunity for the time being," Zhou Ding said. "After all, that guy is also a civil servant. He works in the government department all day long. We can't go there rashly. If things really get out of hand, it will be very bad for us. But this is only temporary. I've already investigated it clearly. He seems to plan to accompany his wife in the hospital tonight and will leave the First People's Hospital of Tianshui City tomorrow. That's the opportunity. Once Xia Chuanlu walks out of the hospital door, someone will immediately drive to kill him, and then their family can be reunited in the hospital. His body exuded a dense, murderous aura, which made people shudder, showing the ruthlessness of the underworld. Even if he didn't make a move, once he made a move, he would destroy the family and uproot it. Xiaoping, it is estimated that after tomorrow, your whole family will fall apart, and it is normal for the family to be destroyed. Zhou Tian sneered again and again. But this is the end of offending my Zhou family, the end of offending me. Don't blame me. Who told you to be weak? Weakness is the original sin, can only be pinched by the strong and played wantonly. Yu Xiaoping's martial arts are indeed powerful, but I don't compare martial arts with you. I compare family background with you. It turns out that it's easy for me, Zhou Tian, to play you to death. His eyes showed a fierce light, and his heart was boiling with killing intent. Whiz, whiz, whiz. At this moment, 3 piercing sounds came from the sky. They were incomparably mournful and pierced through the eardrums. The glass around the villa seemed to have shattered into pieces, making a clanking sound. What is it? Zhou Ding's hair stood on end. As a powerhouse of the 9th heavenly layer of martial disciple, he immediately felt a threatening, killing intent covering his whole body. He looked closely and saw 3 stones like sniper bullets smashing towards him. At this moment, he used all his skills, twisting his body at an incredible angle, and did an iron bridge, just in time to avoid the 3 life-threatening stones. With a few bangs, the 3 stones suddenly pierced through the cement wall, revealing 3 holes. Moonlight shone in from outside the holes, and gravel splashed everywhere. From this, it can be seen that the terrifying power of these 3 stones is no less than a sniper bullet. Damn, this is bad. Zhou Ding's face turned green. This was because these 3 stones were only the first killing move. The second killing move came swiftly. A terrifying gust of wind approached his chest, and he could faintly hear the hissing of a poisonous snake. But now, in order to avoid the 3 stones, he had already exhausted his strength, and his body was twisted at an incredible angle. It was simply impossible to resist this move. Dong! A big hand came, like a poisonous snake, and with a puqi, it instantly pierced through Zhou Ding's chest, bursting Zhou Ding's heart, and blood sprayed out like a fountain. Who is it? Who the hell wants to kill me? Zhou Ding clutched his heart, and severe pain spread throughout his body. He still hadn't seen the enemy's voice, as if the other party was transparent. He also didn't understand how the enemy passed through the heavy security of the community and arrived at his villa. Chapter 71. Xiaoping. Hearing this sentence, this name, whether it was Zhou Ten, who was standing next to him at the loss, or Zhou Ding, who had his heart blown out and barely survived by relying on the tyrannical vitality of a martial artist's 9th heaven cultivation base, they were shocked. They didn't expect that Xiaoping, who they thought had been caught and disabled by their own men, would suddenly appear in their own home and even kill them. Impossible. Zhou Ding yelled, "Haven't you been caught by Chen Dong and his men? Your legs are broken, and you have become disabled? How can you still appear in this place? Also, how did you get into the Jingde district?" He couldn't believe it and opened his eyes desperately, but he couldn't find Xiaoping's figure. There seemed to be no shadow of Xiaoping in the entire living room. Except for the sound, it seemed that he did not exist in this world. As an underworld hero, Zhou Ding has seen everything. The people who have killed people are countless, and the scenes he has seen are countless, but he has never seen such a strange scene. He couldn't find the enemy, and he didn't even know how the enemy killed him. A deep level of fear spread all over his body at once, making him, the underworld hero, tremble. But how could Zhou Ding know that there is a magical pill in the world called the invisible pill? After taking it, one cannot be seen by anyone for an hour and become invisible. Even the strong martial artists and even the monitors can't detect his existence. It was because Xiaoping spent a lot of hatred points to exchange for this pill that he could easily enter the extremely strict security of the Jingde district and assassinate Zhou Ding. Do you mean those black-clothed men before? They're all dead, Xiaoping said lightly. His voice sounded in the living room, like a ghost, making people shudder. They're all dead. Zhou Ding was even more frightened. Chun Dong was a strong man in the ninth heaven of martial artists, and his strength was almost the same as his own. Chun Dong alone was enough to beat Xiaoping half to death. Not to mention that he also sent a dozen elite men over. The purpose was to make sure nothing went wrong, but such a force could not kill this Xiaoping, but was killed instead. How is this possible? How did you kill them? Zhou Ding couldn't help but ask. He couldn't understand this matter, no matter how he thought about it. According to his investigation, this kid was also in the seventh heaven of martial arts. Moreover, he didn't have any background, nor did he have any support. However, such a small character could actually kill his elite subordinates and even sneak into the Jingde district without being discovered. How could such a ridiculous thing happen? Could it be that this kid had a secret on him that he didn't know about? Did he have a backer that he didn't know about? Thinking of this, he could not help but feel a deep sense of regret. This time, he had really kicked an iron plate. You don't need to know that, because dead people don't need to know anything, Xiaoping said coldly, showing no mercy. Whoosh! Another palm strike landed on Zhou Ding's body. Zhou Ding's eyes widened as his body fell to the ground. He was dead. An ambitious and ruthless underworld figure was killed in his own villa, just like that. This, Zhou Tai, and was trembling all over. Seeing his father die in front of him, he was so frightened that he couldn't move, because Xiaoping even killed his own father. What else wouldn't he dare to kill? The next one must be him. But what made Zhou Tai most afraid was that the other party was invisible. He didn't know where Xiaoping was hiding, whether he was outside or standing beside him, looking at him coldly. Even if he wanted to escape, he didn't know which direction to escape to. Xiaoping, I was wrong, really wrong. With a plop, Zhou Tai immediately knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing. Spare me this time. As long as you can spare me this time, I could be a cow or a horse for you for the rest of my life, be a dog for you. In order to survive, he gave up all dignity. Even if he knelt to the enemy, he did not hesitate. Spare you this time? If I spare you, then who will spare me? Xiaoping's voice was cold, like a cold current in a world of ice and snow, and even the blood was frozen. If Xiaoping was at a disadvantage, caught by the father and son of the Zhou family, tortured, broken legs, and became a waste, then he begged for mercy, hoping that the other party would spare his life. Would the other party spare him? Obviously not. According to the cruel methods of this father and son pair, they would be proud of themselves and humiliate him even more. They would not stop until he was tortured to the point where he wished he was dead. There is a conflict between you and me. You can hit me, humiliate me, and use all the means. Even if I am killed by you because of this, I have no regrets. This proves that I, Xiaoping, am just such a man. But you should not have sent people to deal with my parents, to hurt them, and even wanted to cripple them. Just because of this, you, Zhou Tai, have to die. With a bang, Xiaoping raised his palm and slapped it down with a backhand, as if a huge wave surged. No. Zhou Tai was terrified to the extreme, and his face was terrified. He wanted to escape, but it was too late. He was only 1 meter away from Xiaoping, and he knelt on both knees. In addition, Xiaoping's speed was like a poisonous snake moving. At such a distance, at such a speed, how could he escape? Bang! The palm fiercely slapped on the top of Zhou Tai's head. The huge force exploded, and in an instant, the top of his head immediately shattered like glass, and a lot of blood flowed out of his 7 orifices. Zhou Tai's eyes widened, revealing a look of fear, unwillingness, and regret. He opened his mouth, as if he wanted to say something, but nothing came out. He regretted it to the extreme. If he had known that this Xiaoping was such a terrifying person, he would not have gone up to provoke him, even if he was beaten to death. Unfortunately, everything was too late. With a bang, his body fell to the ground, making a sound, and blood dripped on the ground. The father and son of the Zhou family were dead. Xiaoping looked at the 2 bodies on the ground indifferently. There was no fluctuation in his heart. If he did not kill these two poisonous snakes, then he would definitely be bitten to death by these two poisonous snakes, and even his parents would be implicated. If he was given another chance, he would make a move again. He would not even wait for the father and son of the Zhou family to make a move. He would directly eliminate the danger without any mercy. What is this? Xiaoping's eyes flashed. He suddenly saw that on the smooth white wall of the living room, there seemed to be a high-end fingerprint lock. Is there something inside that is locked with this kind of lock? Chapter 72. If it's a fingerprint, it should belong to Zhou Taiyan's father, right? Xiaoping rubbed his chin. Thinking of this, he immediately lifted Zhou Ding's body and placed his right hand on top of the fingerprint lock. Beep! In an instant, the high-grade fingerprint lock beeped. It flashed with a red light. With a snap, the entire wall seemed to crack open and slowly move to the sides. In just 5 or 6 seconds, a room suddenly appeared behind the white wall. It's actually locked with a high-grade fingerprint lock. What kind of room is this? Xiaoping's eyes flashed. He put down Zhou Ding's body and strode into the secret room. As soon as he stepped into the room, he immediately saw that the room was filled with weapons. There were laser guns, heavy machine guns, sniper guns, and so on. It seemed that most of the guns in the world could be found in this room. In addition to guns, there were all kinds of bombs in the room. There were miniature nuclear bullets, time bombs, and so on. The room was like a small military arsenal. Amazing. Xiaoping's pupil shrank. He was also stunned by the layout of the room. Most of the weapons in the room were illegal. If the things here would be leaked, the person would definitely be arrested by the police and imprisoned for more than 10 years. Where did this Zhou Ding come from? Why does his family have so many powerful military weapons? Xiaoping frowned. He remembered that Zhou Taiyan's father was a restaurant owner with a net worth of over 100 million. On the surface, he seemed like a law-abiding citizen. But looking at the way this guy did things, he wasn't a good person. Who knew if he had done something dirty behind the scenes? Forget it. Zhou Ding is dead anyway. There's no point in continuing to pursue this. Xiaoping didn't plan to continue to care about this matter. He continued to look around the room to see if he could find any treasures that suited him. No way. Isn't this the body-tempering pill? All of a sudden, he saw a green gourd placed on a wooden table in the room. He opened the lid of the gourd with a smack, and to his surprise, he saw a pile of golden elixirs inside. He immediately recognized that these pills were the legendary body-tempering pills. Amazing. There are actually 20 to 30 of them. This is good. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He knew that the body-tempering pill was as precious as the gold potion, but it was a little different from the gold potion. Taking this kind of pill could temper one's physique, remove the impurities in one's body, and make one's physical strength even stronger. From a certain point of view, the body-tempering pill was even more precious than the gold potion. This was also evident from the price. A body-tempering pill like this cost at least 1 million federal coins. Moreover, it was priceless in the market. Once it appeared, it would immediately be bought out by the rich. This kind of pill couldn't be bought even if one had the money. 20 to 30 of these body-tempering pills were worth at least 40 to 50 million federal coins. It was incomparably precious. It could be said that these body-tempering pills were more expensive than this villa. I don't know where Zhou Ding got it from. In short, this body-tempering pill belongs to me. Xiaoping smiled and immediately took the green gourd. He continued to search the room. Unfortunately, other than some military weapons, gold, and a large number of federal coins, he did not find any other treasures. He did not have any interest in these gold and other valuables, nor did he plan to take them away. This was because it would be extremely difficult to wash away this money completely. He did not want to get himself into big trouble because of this unknown money. Moreover, Xiaoping was not sure of money right now. There was no need for the police to come knocking on his door because of this money. Let's go. After searching around, Xiaoping did not find anything useful, so he left the room. He took out the corpse decomposing water on his body and dripped it on the corpses of Zhou Ding and Zhou Tan. With a sizzling sound, the two corpses instantly melted completely, turning into a wisp of green smoke and disappearing from this world. No, this doesn't seem to be clean enough. I have to completely destroy the corpses and erase all traces. Xiaoping knew that once the matter of him killing the Zhou father and son was exposed, he would get into a lot of trouble. He had to get rid of any clues that the police might find. Thinking of this, he returned to the secret room and took out a pile of bombs. He set a timer and planned to detonate them completely in 5 minutes. If these bombs were to be successfully detonated, the entire villa would be smashed away and nothing would be left behind. At that time, it would be impossible to find any clues. Let's go. After doing a series of things, Xiaoping left the villa. Because the effects of the invisible pill had not worn off, he easily left the extremely strict security of Zhengde district without being discovered by anyone. 5 minutes later, he was only a short distance away from Zhengde district. Boom! At this moment, the villa where the Zhou father and son were was immediately detonated by the bombs. There was an earth-shattering explosion, and in an instant, the luxurious villa was blown up. Even the entire Zhengde district shook, as if there was a magnitude 4 or 5 earthquake. Some of the glass near the villa cracked and shattered, scattering all over the ground. Damn it, what happened? Is it an earthquake? No, I saw it. There was an explosion in a villa, and the fire rose to the sky. How is this possible? Our security system here is extremely strict. It's impossible for an explosion to happen. Nothing is impossible. The fact is that it happened. Immediately go over and see if there are any casualties. Hurry up and call the police. We security can't handle this matter. Something big happened. Something really big happened. Why did it suddenly explode? The security of the district was shocked. The entire villa was blown up, and it was in the extremely strict security of Zhengde district. This was a big deal, and it would definitely be the top news in Tianshui City. If many people died, it would be even worse. Each of the security guards had a grave expression. Some of them went to check the villa, some called the police, some went to confirm the casualties, and some went to call the ambulance. Woo-woo, when the police received the news, they were also very shocked. They immediately rushed over with their police cars. Within a few minutes, they arrived at Zhengde district. Hundreds of police quickly surrounded the district. At the same time, firefighters came to put out the fire in time, and the hospital and ambulance also arrived. Because of this explosion, the entire Zhengde district could not sleep for the whole night. Chapter 73. The next morning, Xiaoping sat upright on the bed and exhaled a mouthful of white gas. It was so dense that it almost condensed into a substance, like a white chain. The muscles on his body trembled and were covered with a layer of black filth. The air was filled with an unpleasant smell. As expected of the body refining pill, the effect is really too good. He opened his eyes, revealing a terrible light, and felt that his body was unprecedentedly relaxed. After taking 2 or 3 body refining pills last night, he immediately ran his cultivation method and cultivated all night. As a result, this morning, the effect of the body refining pill was exhausted, and he felt that a lot of impurities in his body had been eliminated. His body seemed to be twice as light, and his strength had become 3 points stronger. Even the true qi in his body had grown a little stronger, approaching the peak of the 7th heaven of martial arts. If I take this body refining pill for a while, I may soon be able to break through to the 8th heaven of martial arts. Xiaoping squeezed his fist and felt the powerful strength in his body. Originally, when the golden potion was consumed, he was still thinking about some ways to get some medicinal pills, but he didn't expect to find 20 or 30 body refining pills on the Zhou father and son. This was simply someone sent a pillow when he wanted to doze off. And the effect of the body refining pill was also very powerful, and it was worthy of its reputation. In just one night, he felt that his physique was stronger than before. But the impurities removed from my body are too smelly. It seems that I have to take a bath before going to school. Xiaoping immediately got up, went to the bathroom to take a bath, and then came out refreshed. An hour later, Xiaoping changed his clothes, came to school, and returned to his seat. Something big happened. Something big happened, you know. Xiaoping had just sat down, and a classmate shouted. Last night, there was an explosion at Zhou Tian's house, and the entire villa was blown up and turned into ruins. At that time, Zhou Tai and Zhou Ding stayed in the villa and didn't escape in time. They were blown up to nothing, and even the police couldn't find their bodies. What? This news shocked the students in the class at once. Even if Zhou Tai and lost to Xiaoping in the previous fighting competition, this did not damage Zhou Tai's reputation as a popular figure in Tianshui City 95th High School. After all, Zhou Tai has been a celebrity in the school for 3 years, and it is impossible to disappear so easily. No way. Is this news true or false? A classmate said suspiciously, I heard that Zhou Tai lives in a high-end community like the Jingda district. There are villas inside, and each one is worth tens of millions of federal dollars. In fact, the security system of every house is extremely good. Once there is a problem, someone will immediately go and investigate, putting an end to all safety accidents. Things like gas explosions have long since disappeared hundreds of years ago. Many students also nodded, thinking that it was impossible for this to happen. Tizka, the student said disdainfully, I didn't fabricate this matter. The news has already reported it, and it has become the headline of Tianshui City today. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourselves. Some students immediately opened their phones and clicked on the news page. Oh my God, it's actually true. A tall student suddenly exclaimed, the news is out, and there are pictures of the explosion scene. It's simply a ruin. Nothing is left. It's terrible. Many students also saw the report on the webpage, and all of them were shocked. Hee, my dad is a policeman. What happened last night has long been a hot topic, and I know more or less some inside information. An obese student said mysteriously. Many students immediately asked, don't keep us in suspense, hurry up. According to my dad, although they couldn't find the bodies of Zhou Taiyan and his son at the scene of the villa, they found a lot of wreckage of military weapons. The obese student looked around and whispered, it is said that these weapons are strictly prohibited by federal law and absolutely not allowed for private ownership. Ordinary people have no channels and can't buy them at all, but they found them in the villa. It is conceivable that there must be a secret in Zhou Taiyan's family. What? A group of students was shocked. They didn't expect there to be such an inside story. So the police guessed that this was not a simple explosion. There must be an inside story. The obese student continued. And the source of this explosion was actually caused by the bomb in Zhou Taiyan's home. If it wasn't for Zhou Taiyan's bad luck, he accidentally fired when playing with these bombs and killed himself. Then it must be the enemy of the Zhou family who wanted to retaliate against the Zhou family. So he installed a bomb in the villa and blew up all the Zhou family. He said what he knew about his guests. No way. Isn't Zhou Taiyan's father a restaurant owner? How could there be an enemy? Didn't you hear that a lot of prohibited weapons were found in his home? It is estimated that Zhou Taiyan's father is not just a restaurant owner. Maybe there is a secret in the dark. It's true that it's unusual to find so many weapons in the villa. Zhou Taiyan is really unlucky. He was just beaten by Xiaoping and lost all his face. Now his enemy came to find him and blew him up. Indeed, looking at Zhou Taiyan's life is full of tragedies, a dramatic life. Many students talked about it, and they all felt the death of Zhou Taiyan, but they didn't feel too sad. For them, Zhou Taiyan was just a stranger. Even if he died, they just treated it as news. The world would continue to operate without anyone. As the instigator, Xiaoping remained unmoved. His expression was the same as usual, without any change. Xiaoping. At this time, Jiang Yar walked over to Xiaoping's side. What is it? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He thought that Jiang Yaru was here to cause trouble because he had spread so many rumors before. He reckoned that she was furious. But Jiang Yara didn't look angry at all. Her expression was even very calm. The teacher is looking for us. She wants us to go to her office. Let's go together. Her beautiful eyes contained an incomparably complicated expression, as if there was something she wanted to say to Xiaoping. The teacher is looking for us? Xiaoping blinked, very confused. Jiang Yaru said in a low voice, it should be about the school's trial. School trial? Xiaoping was even more confused. He had never heard of such a thing. In short, just follow me to the teacher's office. When the time comes, the teacher will explain to you. Jiang Yaru said. She reached out and grabbed Xia Ping's hand, directly pulling him out of his seat. Chapter 74. On the way to the teacher's office, Jiang Yuro hesitated for a moment, looked at Xia Ping, and asked worriedly, "I heard Annie had a car accident. How is she now? Is she okay?" Hearing this, Xia Ping immediately understood why Jiang Yaro didn't look for him. It turned out that he had heard about his mother, which was why he had such an expression. She was hit by someone and is now partially paralyzed. Xia Ping said in a deep voice, but her situation has temporarily stabilized. It will take about a week for her to recover after soaking in a nutrient solution. Speaking of this, his mood was a lot more relaxed because his mother's condition was gradually improving. In a week, she would be discharged from the hospital and return to her original healthy body. Partially paralyzed? Nutrient solution? Jiang Yaru was shocked. As far as I know, this nutrient solution is extremely expensive. If you want to soak it once, I'm afraid it will cost hundreds of thousands of federal dollars. This is not a small amount. Nutrient solution was a special life potion made from dozens of precious materials. If a person with a bone fracture was soaked in the nutrient solution, it could speed up the healing of the bone, and even a comminuted fracture could be successfully treated. Before, Xiong Batian, Zhou Taiyan, and the others were injured and hospitalized. They recovered in just a week because they were soaked in a nutrient solution, which accelerated the healing of their injuries. But there was no doubt that this nutrient solution was extremely expensive. People from ordinary families simply couldn't afford it. It's okay. Xiaoping waved his hand. You also know that I wrote a novel before and made a lot of money from it. Although the medical expenses are expensive, it's not too much of a burden for me now. Jiang Yaru also immediately remembered that this man had written an erotic novel. It seemed to be very popular on the internet, but the content was very shameless and unbearable. She looked at Xia Ping with a little doubt. Can this novel really make that much money? Although she also knew that the top novelist could make more than $1 billion federal dollars every year. That was only the top novelists. And Xia Ping was just a high school student, and it was his first novel. Was he really that good? Of course it's true. I don't have to lie. But why are you asking these things? Do you want to test my ability to make money? Xia Ping touched his chin, showing a look of sudden realization. Then, he looked at Jiang Yaru with a smile. Don't worry about this. Although I don't have much ability, I can still provide for my family in the future. I definitely won't let my wife and kids go hungry. He patted his chest and promised. Who asked you about these things? Shameless. Jiang Yaru was angered half to death. Her face was bright red as she glared at this shameless bastard. He was trying to take advantage of her again. She also remembered those hateful rumors from before, saying that she was pregnant with this bastard child, and that there were still 3 months left. The school was abuzz with this rumor, and even her parents knew about it. If it wasn't for her repeated assurance, she would have been taken to the hospital by her parents for a checkup, and all of this was the fault of the hooligan in front of her. Xia Ping had an innocent look on his face. But isn't that what you ask? Ask your ass. Jiang Yaru was angered half to death. She only wanted to ask if she could make so much money, but this bastard was actually thinking about his wife and children. If he continued to ask like this, did he already think about how many children he would have in the future, and which kindergarten he planned to go to? Don't think that just because something happened to Annie, you can take a mile after I treat you a bit better. I still haven't settled the account of you spreading rumors on the stage before. Jiang Yaru glared at Xia Ping. In short, if you continue to spread these strange rumors in school, I will definitely go to your house and tell Annie to punish you. She angrily threatened Xia Ping. All right, we've arrived at the teacher's office. Let's go in. Xia Ping waved his hand and directly walked toward the office. Jiang Yaru gnashed her teeth. This bastard had changed the topic again. But sooner or later, she would find a chance to take care of this bastard. For now, she would let him go. Entering the office, the head teacher, Chioshua, was sitting in front of her desk. She was wearing a black women's suit that outlined a perfect curve, exuding the temperament of a mature and charming city beauty. Xia Ping sighed with emotion. This head teacher of his was definitely a pleasing beauty. No wonder she had so many pursuers in school, and even became the dream lover of many students. Whoosh! Jiang Yaru suddenly stepped forward and blocked Xiaoping's line of sight. She looked at Xiaoping with a look of disdain and vigilance, as if she was looking at some kind of invincible pervert. She knew that this shameless man had improper thoughts about the beautiful and mature teacher. He even wrote a shameless erotic novel because of this. If he continued to be alone with a teacher like this, maybe this bastard would become a beast and do something uncontrollable, even going beyond the bottom line of morality. Xiaoping was speechless. He also knew why Jiang Yaru was so vigilant against him. It was clearly because she was worried that he would do something to the teacher. But even if he was hungry, he wouldn't attack the teacher in the office. Ahem, Yaru, I know you have a good relationship with Xiaoping, but there's no need to stick together all the time. This is a school. Pay attention to your image. At this time, the head teacher, Qiushua, coughed, seemingly reminding the two of them to pay attention in front of the teacher and not go too far and make such intimate movements. Although Jiang Yaru thought she was protecting the teacher, in Qiushua's eyes, it was clearly a public display of affection in front of her, revealing intimate movements between lovers. Teacher, it's not like that. Jiang Yaru's pretty face suddenly turned red, and she hurriedly explained. Qiushua waved her hand, looking like she was also an experienced person, and said, Forget it. You don't need to explain to me. Anyway, you're both 18 years old, already adults, and you know what you're doing. In short, you just need to pay attention to your image. After all, this is a school, a sacred place for learning. Teacher, I understand. Thank you for your teachings. Xiaoping replied very honestly. Understand my ass. Jiang Yaru's nose was crooked from anger. What do you mean I understand? Isn't this confirming that the two of them have an unspeakable secret? How can I explain this? Isn't it just making things worse? Well, it's good that you know. Qiushua nodded with satisfaction. Next, I'll explain to you about the school trial the day after tomorrow. Listen carefully, it's very important. She went straight to the main topic and no longer paid attention to those small things. Chapter 75. The purpose of this school's training is to participate in the Tianshui City High School fighting competition. Is not equal to the homeroom teacher, Qiushu, immediately said, For this special training, you don't need to pay any fees. Those who can participate are basically the top 10 experts in the school. The two of you are one of them. However, there are also students who can pay a high fee to participate in this special training. However, the number of people can't exceed 10. Therefore, there will be a total of 20 people participating in this special training. She held up 2 fingers. But teacher, I heard that there are other schools participating in this special training. Jiang Yaru was also very well informed. She had heard a lot of gossip from her friends. Qiushu nodded. That is indeed the case. This time, we plan to go to the Beast Island for the training. The fees are very high. If it was just one school, the fees would be too high. We can't afford it, so the school's higher-ups have joined forces with other high schools. In total, there are 10 schools participating in this special training together. When the time comes, there will also be students from other schools participating. 10 schools. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. This was really a big investment. Sure enough, getting good results in the fighting competition was the right thing to do. If it was an ordinary student, how could they have the qualifications to enjoy this kind of special training? Sometimes, the path of martial arts was like this. The strong became stronger, and the weak became weaker. Because the resources and training received by both sides were not on the same level, the gap would naturally grow bigger and bigger. Because this special training will be going to the Beast Island. Qiushu continued, there are all kinds of powerful and terrifying beasts living on that island. Going to that remote island for the training will have a certain degree of danger. Therefore, you must sign a life and death contract and obtain the consent of your guardian to participate. She took out 2 contracts from the drawer. If you agree, plus your parents agree, then sign this contract. The day after tomorrow, you will go to the Beast Island to participate in the special training. If you don't agree, then it will be considered that you have given up on this special training. Xiaoping and Jiang Yaru both reached out their hands to receive the contract. However, they definitely had to participate. This kind of special training was rare. Although there was a certain degree of danger, it wouldn't be fatal. Signing the so-called life and death contract was just a formality. In fact, the school would organize this kind of special training every year, but there had never been any major incidents. Therefore, there were not many parents and students who would reject such special training. Okay, that's it. You can take the agreement and hand it to me tomorrow. Choshu was swift and decisive. After giving instructions, she immediately ordered them to leave. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. Xiaoping arrived at school in the morning because the school had decided to gather in the middle of the school sports field. After 2 days of cultivation and taking 4 or 5 body refining pills, he felt that the true qi in his body seemed to have grown a little stronger and a lot of impurities had been refined out. He had reached the peak of the 7th layer of martial disciple. If this continued, it wouldn't be long before he could clear his 8th meridian. Fortunately, he had the help of the body-tempering pill, otherwise Xiaoping would not be able to cultivate so quickly. Not long after, Xiaoping arrived at the school sports ground. He saw some school teachers, the dean, the vice principal, and his class teacher, Qiushue, had already arrived at the scene. Even the students who came to participate in the special training came. Among them were Jiang Yuru, Zhu Erqin, Hong Yu, and others who entered the top 4. Even Xiong Batian, Tao Yun, Goldman Sachs, and other students who had played against him came, and some top students of the school. Almost all the top 20 elites of Tianshui City, 95th Middle School, came to this sports ground. Hey, Xiong Batian, you also came to participate in the special training. Xiaoping went up to greet the old acquaintance enthusiastically and said, "But how do I remember that you don't seem to be in the top 10 masters? Did you pay money to come in?" "Pay your sister." Xiong Baishan's nose was crooked. This bastard is touching the pot that doesn't open. Where is there someone who specifically mentions this kind of thing? Isn't this clearly satirizing him for going through the back door and paying money to get in? This bastard is too poisonous. He wants to beat his face swollen. Tao Yun, you're here too. I haven't seen you for a long time. I miss you very much. Now I still remember the life and death battle between you and me on the ring. Xiaoping also greeted Tao Yun, very emotional. "Miss your uncle." Hearing this, Tao Yun's mouth twitched. Was that a life and death battle? It was clearly a battle to humiliate Tao Yun. Because of that battle, he became the laughingstock of the school and was nicknamed the Crybaby. Now he can't even lift his head when he walks on the road. Whenever Tao Yun thinks of that, he wishes he had never participated in that game. He will never forget the face of this hateful Xiaoping in his life. Even when night falls, this guy will appear in his nightmares. Not to mention how painful it is, it can be said that he doesn't want to see this bastard again in his life. Unexpectedly, this guy dared to come up and say hello. "Yo, isn't this Goldman Sachs? Your injury has healed so quickly. Did you soak in the nutrient solution? That thing is very valuable. It's good to have money in your family." Xiaoping stepped forward and patted Goldman Sachs on the shoulder, enviously. "Good your ass." Goldman Sachs was so angry that his face turned green and his whole body trembled. The reason why he went to the hospital to run the nutrient solution was thanks to this bastard, but this bastard dared to come over and be so sarcastic. His family is rich, but they can't give it all to the hospital. Is there such a sarcasm? The mouths of the top students of the school twitched. They have long heard that this Xiaoping is an extremely annoying guy, but they didn't expect it to be even more annoying than they imagined. Even if this matter has nothing to do with them, they all had the urge to beat this bastard up. Why didn't anyone seal this bastard's mouth? It's too vicious. "Xiaoping, what are you doing? Don't talk nonsense." Jiang Yaro also couldn't stand it anymore. If he let this bastard continue to talk nonsense, he's afraid that before they even get on the spaceship, they will start fighting. Cough, cough. Choshu, the homeroom teacher, was also speechless. This is the first time she saw a student in her class being so annoying. She coughed a few times and said, "Xiaoping, since you're here, then everyone is here. Let's get on the spaceship." The people from other schools have also been waiting for a long time. Chapter 76. Xiaoping looked over. In fact, when he first entered the stadium, he found a silver, streamlined spaceship parked in the middle of the stadium. The appearance was full of sci-fi. This spaceship looked like an ordinary ship, but it used a gravity-free system. It could land and take off at any time. Its speed was extremely fast, several times faster than ordinary planes. It was estimated that the school rented it from a spaceship company in order to send them to Beast Island. "Let's go," Xiu, the head teacher, said. Whoosh! Hearing this sentence, the students of Tianshui City's 95th Middle School all nodded, followed the school teacher, boarded the spaceship, and entered the interior space. When they entered, everyone found that the interior of the spaceship was vast and beautifully decorated. It was a bit like a luxurious restaurant with seats everywhere. There were even a lot of drinks, snacks, and so on the seats. There were also LCD screens on the walls of the spaceship, which could observe the situation outside and play TV and movies. Moreover, the spaceship restaurant was divided into 10 areas. Each area was where a school was located. There were seats on it, which seemed to have been arranged by someone. As for the location of Tianshui City's 95th Middle School, it was in the east corner. There were some words on the chairs, indicating that this was the chair of Tianshui City's 95th Middle School. Amazing! What a luxurious spaceship! This is the first time I have taken such a spaceship, a student said excitedly. Other students also nodded because they rarely had such an opportunity to take a spaceship. Even the price of each spaceship ticket was not cheap. It was not affordable for ordinary students. At this time, many students had entered the spaceship, and all of them were sitting in their seats. These were the top students of other middle schools, and Tianshui City's 95th Middle School was the last batch. Xiaoping glanced at the people around him. He found that many students were familiar to him. It seemed that when he challenged the school, many of these students were also present. So he immediately went up and greeted them enthusiastically. "Hey, hello everyone. I haven't seen you for a long time. Aren't you a student of Wuwei Martial Arts Hall? Sorry about last time. I didn't know how to control my strength and sent most of your people to the hospital. How are you now? Are you feeling better?" Hearing this, several Wuwei Martial Arts Hall students' faces turned green. Obviously, they also recognized this god of plague. All of them cursed in their hearts. How could they meet this god of plague here? They all turned their faces away and pretended not to know him. Xiaoping didn't mind and continued to greet them. "Isn't that someone from the Flying Pig Dojo? I didn't expect that you guys would also participate in this special training. What a coincidence. Do you want to practice with us later? I've challenged so many dojos, but you guys are the most resilient. If I wasn't in a hurry, I'm afraid I would have to stay in your dojo for a few days." "Stop your grandpa." The group of students from the Flying Pig Dojo were fuming. They recalled how this Astrostar had come to their dojo to challenge them, and had actually despised them for not having enough strength. He had flown into a rage out of humiliation and had beaten them up like sandbags. Now they all wished they could rush up and spit on this bastard's face. Without a doubt, if this guy dared to stay in their dojo, they would definitely put laxatives in his food. They wouldn't stop until he had diarrhea for 7 days and 7 nights. "Yo, isn't that a student from the Tiger Dojo? The injuries on your bodies have also healed. What a pity. The people from the Rhino Dojo are also here. What a coincidence. I feel that we are fated to be together. Let's go to a bar and have a glass of milk next time. The people from the Hurricane Dojo are also here. I'm really sorry. I kicked your eldest senior brother in a vital spot. I didn't know how to control my strength at that time. But who asked him to jump around in front of me? It's getting a little annoying." Xiaoping went up and greeted the students along the way. He was very enthusiastic and had a wide social network. It was very rare. He knew so many students on the spaceship. It was really too rare. It was normal to meet acquaintances on the spaceship. After all, those who were willing to spend a large sum of money to study in the dojo were basically the top students of their respective schools. They were all representatives of their schools. This time, Tianshui City's 95th High School was participating together with the other 9 schools. They were all nearby schools, so the chances of meeting acquaintances were very high. Seeing this, the corner of Zhu Erqin's mouth twitched. She said to Jiang Yaru, "Looks like student Xia has a wide social network. There aren't many students here that he doesn't know." Jiang Yaru was speechless. Indeed, he had a wide social network. But no matter how she looked at it, those students were more like enemies. When they saw Xiaoping go up to greet them, They all gnashed their teeth. Some even clenched their fists, the veins on their foreheads bulging like a volcano. If it wasn't for their companions holding them back, they probably would have rushed up. This bastard was trying to cause public anger. The mouths of Xiong Batian and the others also twitched. They were speechless. Regarding Xiaoping's previous provocation, their anger had dissipated. Clearly, this bastard wasn't deliberately targeting them. It was the same for everyone. Didn't they see that the students of the other 9 schools were hopping mad? They all wanted to rush up and beat Xiaoping up. Compared to this situation, their matters were simply child's play. This guy's mouth is too cheap. Tao Yin was also speechless. He gave his conclusion. The homeroom teacher, Qiuxiu, also couldn't stand it anymore. She felt that if this continued, it would cause a riot on the spaceship. She went up to grab Xiaoping and said, "Sit down obediently. Don't cause trouble everywhere." "All right." Xiaoping spread his hands and shrugged. He didn't have any opinion, because he heard the sound of the system prompt. Obviously, he had achieved his goal this time. He had gained a lot of hatred. So, he walked toward his seat and sat down. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The other students also sat down one by one under the arrangement of Qiuxiu and chose their own seats. Damn, I didn't expect that god of plague Xiaoping to also come. No wonder I had a nightmare last night. I didn't expect it to be for a reason. It's over, it's over. We've been targeted by this Xiaoping. Won't our special training be ruined? If we can't afford to provoke him, can't we just hide? Beast Island is so big. How can we possibly meet this bastard? I think everyone thinks too highly of this bastard. This time, there are countless strong people here. He's not the only one. If he continues to be arrogant, someone will definitely take care of him. That's right. If one person can't beat him, can't 10 people beat him? Chapter 77. Feeling the murderous gazes around him, Xiaoping remained unmoved. He continued to sit in his seat, happily drinking his drink, unaffected by the people around him. But this made everyone even angrier. They secretly swore to themselves that they would take care of this bastard sooner or later. Jianyaru. All of a sudden, a crisp voice rang out. Following that, a graceful figure slowly walked up to Jianyaru and stared at him. It's Xu Rong from Tianshui City's 88 Middle School. A sharp-eyed student immediately recognized the person who came to cause trouble for Jianyaru and couldn't help but call out. It's actually Xu Rong. A square-faced student looked at the woman with admiration and said, "She's worthy of being the school beauty of 88 Middle School. That figure, that appearance, she's simply the best. I heard she's also an online streamer, a celebrity. If I could marry a woman like that, I'd be willing to live for less than 10 years. A group of men next to him looked over. Their eyes lit up and their hearts were moved. Don't even think about it. The person who wants to pick her up has at least a reinforced company, and she's already taken. A tall student spoke up. That person is Xiaoping. The square-faced man was dumbfounded. Impossible. How could someone like this get the school beauty? I don't believe it. How could such a thing happen in this world? Is this Xu Rong blind? He collapsed. He couldn't accept this reality at all. It was as if he had been punched in the face. It's not fake. I've also heard this news. It doesn't seem to be as simple as a girlfriend. She's this shameless Xiaoping's lover. She's probably ranked 8th. Having a lover is already too much. And she's only ranked 8th? Is this some kind of concubine selection? Not only that, it seems that 95th Middle School's school beauty Jianyaru is also his girlfriend, and she's even pregnant. Holy crap. This beast, he actually has a foot in 2 boats. He's openly occupying 2 great beauties. Is he still human? Why hasn't he been hacked to death by the school beauty yet? I have the urge to hack him to death right now. It's not as simple as a foot in 2 boats. He stepped on more than 10 boats. Just the names of 2 of the school beauties are known. There are even more that haven't been exposed. Bastard. I knew this kid wasn't a good person, but I didn't expect him to be so shameless. He's simply a scum, a disgrace to us men. The group of students cursed loudly. They were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. Some of them even had signs of smoke rising from their heads. But this Xu Rong suddenly went to look for Jianyaru. It's like a queen meeting a queen, and they're going to have a big fight, a girl gossiped as she pushed up her black-rimmed glasses. Everyone was pleasantly surprised. That's right, the fact that this bastard was two-timing was exposed. Which woman could tolerate it? Maybe Chu Rong had already exploded in anger and was looking for someone to vent her anger on. Moreover, they were all on the spaceship and couldn't even escape. If they didn't fight now, when would they? It was obvious that Xia Ping was finished. He would be torn to shreds by the angry woman later. The heavens have eyes. A student looked up at the sky and sighed. I've been waiting for this bully to get his comeuppance. Everyone, come and take a look. This is the consequence of having a foot in both boats. This is the consequence of being a scumbag. Everyone, just you wait. This bastard will definitely be hacked to death by a woman. Everyone was gloating as they looked at the situation on Xia Ping's side. At this time, Jiang Yaru also noticed Chu Rong's arrival. He raised his head and was a little surprised. Chu Rong, Jiang Yaru, long time no see. Chu Rong looked at Jiang Yaru and said, ever since we parted ways in the fighting competition, it's been 4 to 5 months since we last met. I didn't think we'd actually meet again before the college entrance exams. Jiang Yaru asked, you didn't come here to talk nonsense, did you? What exactly do you want to do here? She went straight to the point and looked at Chu Rong. Everyone held their breaths and focused their attention. The atmosphere suddenly became heavy. They felt that this was the prelude to a storm. Who knows, a fight might break out in the next second. As expected of my opponent, you really do understand me. Chu Rong smiled and said, to tell you the truth, I'm already getting impatient. It's been 3 years. I've already put you and I on the same level for 3 years. She raised 3 fingers and said, but I don't want to continue comparing like this. Between you and me, we must determine a winner before the college entrance exams. Let's see who's the strongest. Interesting. How do you want to determine the winner? Jiang Yaru looked at Chu Rong. Her beautiful eyes revealed a strong fighting spirit. She didn't back down in the slightest. It's very simple. Chu Rong also looked at Jiang Yaru. This time special training also has points and also a high or low evaluation. After this special training, whoever has the highest score will be the winner. Okay. Jiang Yaru nodded in agreement. She didn't fear any challenge, and she had the confidence that she wouldn't lose to anyone. I hope you work hard. Don't be left too far behind by me. Chu Rong gave Jiang Yaru a deep look. After saying this, she directly left, not even sparing a glance at Xia Ping. Everyone was disappointed. Why didn't the two of them start a fight even at this point? It was too strange. Just what's going on? Isn't this the queen meeting the queen? Why didn't they start a fight? Instead, they issued a challenge? Someone asked in confusion. What's the benefit of winning like this? A bespectacled male student's eyes lit up. No, there's still a benefit. You guys don't understand. This isn't an ordinary competition. What? What's going on? Tell us in detail. A group of students gossiped. The bespectacled student revealed a look of disappointment. It's already come to this point, and you guys still don't understand? Without a doubt, the 2 campus belles are fighting over a man. Fighting over a man? The group of students was dumbfounded. How did they come to such a conclusion? As expected of the school's belles, a genius girl. Even when fighting over a man, she's still so graceful. If it was a normal girl, they would have already started a fight, fighting each other in public, tearing at each other's hair and clothes. The students sighed, but they're different. They still have their own reservations. So they're using this special training as an opportunity to have a final competition between the two of them, a fierce battle between dragons and tigers. Whoever loses has to leave Xia Ping. Isn't this a fight over a man? Everyone suddenly understood. No wonder they felt that there was something fishy about this matter. They didn't think that there was such a deep level of logic behind it. Fortunately, there were people with high IQs here, and they immediately saw through it. Impossible. I don't believe it. What's so good about this damn Xia Ping? There are actually beauties fighting over him, and they're willing to die for him? Why aren't they fighting over me? Chapter 78. This Xia Ping's methods are too brilliant. Just how did he manage to achieve such a thing? It's bad enough that he has a foot in a dozen boats, but now he's even letting 2 goddesses fight over him. Is there still justice in this world? This is too despicable. Isn't that right? Just how did this Xia Ping train his women? Why aren't they chopping him up? His methods are too amazing. Although this bastard is a bit of a scumbag, he's still quite capable. Bullsh asterisk T. This is only the ability to harm innocent women. What's so great about it? Many students glared at Xia Ping with grief and indignation. They had a look of disbelief on their faces. They couldn't understand what was happening in front of them. This was too absurd. Hearing the words of these students, Xia Ping felt that he was very innocent. It was obvious that there was a conflict between the two women, so they challenged each other. What did it have to do with him? Why do you have to take all the blame? Hearing these words, Jiang Yaru's charming face darkened. She almost couldn't hold it in. Just who was the one who wanted to die and was being trained? Was she, Jiang Yaru, that unbearable? It was just a very normal competition. But in the mouth of these bastards, it became a fight over a man. This was too despicable. Even 8 mouths wouldn't be able to explain this clearly. Forget it. Thinking of this, Jiang Yaru felt that it was better to endure this anger. She knew that even if she went up to explain, no one would believe her. Instead, they would think that she was lying. In short, when it came to things like rumors, the more you cared about them, the faster they would spread. Ding dong, at this moment, a broadcast sounded from inside the spaceship. Following that, a middle-aged man wearing a military uniform appeared on the large screen in front of them. He had a square face and a dignified gaze. Even through the screen, everyone present could feel the oppressive killing intent coming from him. This was definitely an expert above the martial warrior realm, and an extremely powerful one at that. In an instant, all the students on the spaceship stopped talking. They seemed to be intimidated by the other party's imposing manner. Hello, everyone. I am the captain of this spaceship, Luo Jian. I am a retired soldier. I believe everyone knows that this time, I am responsible for bringing all of you to Beast Island for training. The middle-aged man in military uniform, Luo Jian, introduced himself. His tone was very solemn. But I believe you all still don't know what kind of place Beast Island is. Let me explain briefly. It's a huge island 3,000 kilometers away from the east of Tianshui City. Even a spaceship would need 3 to 4 hours to reach it. It's a long distance. Of course, the long distance is not a big problem. This island is very large, at least 100,000 square kilometers. There are dense forests, mountains, rivers, valleys, and so on. The geographical environment is very complicated. At this point, he changed the topic. Most importantly, there are countless ferocious beasts and monsters living there. They are extremely powerful, bloodthirsty, and cruel. There are also some venomous snakes and insects. It's a real jungle world. For the next 5 days, you will have to stay on this island to train. We will not provide you with any help, nor are you allowed to bring any food down. However, you can still bring along the necessary equipment and weapons. Everyone was in awe. They knew how difficult it was to survive on a deserted island. Even if it was only 5 days, it was already very difficult. Not to mention that there were terrifying beasts living on the island that could devour their lives at any time. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. 100,000 square kilometers was very large. Even in his previous life, Taiwan was only slightly more than 30,000 square kilometers. However, this beast island was 100,000 square kilometers, at least 3 times larger. Moreover, they were not allowed to bring any food. They had to survive in the wild. For a modern person who was used to living in the city, it was simply a kind of torture. Given that this training has a certain degree of danger, Captain Luo Jian continued, we will have a positioning watch with positioning information on it. This will make it easier for us to know your location on Beast Island. If any of you are in danger or want to withdraw from this training, you can press the button on it. Our people will immediately come to your rescue. But you must remember, once you press this button, it means that you have given up on this training. He waved his hand, and a few crew members walked out from the entrance of the spaceship. They took out a black watch and distributed it to every student present, letting them wear it on their wrist. Xiaoping also took it and wore it on his right hand. There was indeed a button on the watch, and the screen seemed to show some map information. In order to increase everyone's enthusiasm, we have decided to arrange a competition for this training. Don't hide immediately after arriving on Beast Island. This will lose the meaning of training. Captain Luo Jian smiled. You can bring back the left ear of the beast you hunted on Beast Island. The more beasts you hunted, the stronger you are, the higher your points. The person with the most points will get 5 body tempering pills, the second place will get 3, and the third place will get 1. There are even special rewards for outstanding performance. He put down this important news. What? The group of students was in an uproar. Every one of them was dumbfounded. It should be known that most of the students present did not come from wealthy families. Usually, they could not afford such a precious pill like the body tempering pill. Just 1 body tempering pill was enough for some families to struggle for more than 10 years. But now, first place could actually get 5 body tempering pills. This was simply a pie falling from the sky. I must get first place. Jiang Yaru's beautiful eyes lit up. She clenched her fists, revealing a burning, fighting spirit. If she could obtain these body-tempering pills, advancing to the 8th layer of martial disciple would be a piece of cake. Some of the other outstanding students also had the same idea. A pill like this was enough to save them a few months of cultivation. This was a good thing that they could not even imagine. Xiaoping's expression was very calm. He had already lost count of how many body-tempering pills he had. A mere 5 couldn't arouse his interest. But no matter how small a mosquito was, it still had some meat. No one would complain about having more body-tempering pills on them. All right, that's the general idea. We'll set off now. Captain Luo Jian waved his hand and gave the order. Boom! At this moment, the entire airship shook and rose into the air. With a whoosh, it flew high up into the sky. The students present could see through the windows that they were getting further and further away from the ground. The airship's speed was extremely fast, and the internal gravity system was excellent. There was almost no vibration at all. A cup of water was placed on the table, but it did not overflow. Jiang Yaru,